Hey, trackies, welcome back to Tokyo Drift. Yep, Tokyo. Tokyo Drift. We are back. Day two, the morning session, aka our night session. I am excited to be back for another stream. I'm excited for the persons that are able to join as well. We can enjoy track and field together. I see 77 people here, guys. Welcome. As per usual, sound off in the comment section below so that we can do our shout outs. Of course, I'm going to tell you what's up today. So before I look into the chat to see who is here with me, let me just tell you what's on for today, the morning session, right? So it's supposedly the 14th, but it's over 13. You know what I mean? Up today, we have the marathon. It's currently ongoing. That started at 5:30, the women's marathon. So we will see how things pan out there. Right now, we are seeing an American athlete, leading the race, seemingly set to do what was never done before for an American athlete. So let's see how that goes. Then starting right now actually is the men's 1500-meter heats, right? So the first heat is just about to go off, right? And we're looking out for the likes of Josh Kerr, in this particular race, among others, right? So very, very interesting, 1500 meters. We saw a young American athlete, this season, do the unthinkable. Was it in the 15 or was it in the 8? No, I think it was in the 8. Apologies. Right. That being said, 1500 is still, really, really good. So I'm gonna enjoy, that particular event, or I am enjoying it since I'm watching it now because the first race is off. Of course, coming up at 7 o'clock as well, we have the women's hammer throw. Naoka Kunis, the lone Jamaican, goes in group A. Now, from a qualification perspective, I believe she needs to throw in excess of 74 meters to qualify automatically. Now, her personal best and national record, puts her below that. So she pretty much has to throw a personal best and national record if she intends to qualify automatically, that is. But that's not the only way to get to the finals. As long as she's in top 12, then she can make it into the finals. But I do believe that she would have to be, probably 72-ish if she wants to be in top 12. So let's see, how it goes. It seems as though any way you spin it, she probably needs a national record, right? But we're here supporting her nonetheless. And then to round out the evening, we have or morning, sorry, we have the women's 100-meter hurdles, and that comes up at 9:05 p.m. So I'm really, really excited to get into that as well. But as things stand right now, 1500 meters is on the track, Tracky. So just to go into the live so that I can tell you how the race is panning out right now. This is the women's hammer throw. So the women's hammer throw is actually on now. So with how things are, I believe one athlete has, thrown a legal throw so far. So still early days yet for the women's hammer throw. All right, so looking into don't tell me this website is still not working today. Is the results not gonna pop up? Child, listen. I don't know why World Athletics keeps playing with these things and it doesn't work. But anyway, okay. So leading is Nordes from Norway. Um, and the Italian and the American look, kind of level-ish. Well, the Italian is not over to the American. Josh Kerr is right there in third place, right? So, as things are standing right now, the athletes are bunched up. For the most part, a few, trailing at the back end, left off the pace. So let's see how things go. But as things stand right now, the Norwegian still leading, the Italian in second, the British athlete in third, the American in fourth. All right, so I try to switch things up a bit. Usually I'm looking over on that side, but you see, because tomorrow is the men's 100-meter finals and women's 100-meter finals, I feel like I'm gonna jump up and bounce stuff over. So I'm kind of trying to shift things around a bit. So now it's in front of me, but the lights are also glaring in my eyes, so it's a bit hard to see as well. So I need to figure stuff out. All right, so taking the win was is the Norwegian Nordas, and Josh Kerr qualifies as well. So they take six, right? Automatically qualify. No non-automatic times come from these long distance races. So you're either in top six or you go home, right? So things are looking good so far in the men's 1500 meters. Let's see who is here with me. Wow, 300 people are here in the chat. Wow, guys, please hit the like button. You guys are certainly turning up and showing out. What do you all like? Is it my madness? Hey, Black African, what's up? Yes, I'm on time. All right. So hey, that's hey Kimani. Did you sleep? I did try. It didn't work. I actually covered my whole face with something black, and child, listen, there was no sleep. So this whole week, usually doing championships when it's not in our time zone, it's a struggle for me, right? So I think I will be walking around like a zombie for the most part during this week plus, but it is what it is. Oh, and like what I'm saying, that Nigeria. A few of my Nigerian chakis are mad at me because in one of the videos I said, is this Nigeria or Niger? And you know what I was saying is, I said to myself, T, you're saying crap. You know what I mean? But sometimes when you're falling asleep and you're saying crap and you can't even stop yourself from saying the crap, right? So my apologies, Nigeria. I knew it was Nigeria, but yeah, I was kind of falling asleep. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily an excuse, so I do apologize again. Little things like that do irk me as well when people make mistakes when it comes to Jamaica as well. So I get it. You know what I mean, when people don't recognize other nationals as well. So my apologies, but I also want to point out, please don't threaten me with this whole subscribe thing. I don't rock with that. I'm human. I may make mistakes from time to time. I don't mind you all checking me. You all check me all the time in the comment section, and I will adjust as long as you're as respectful as possible. Because some of y'all think you can come at me crazy. You know what I mean? And those things I don't rock with y'all will get a quick block immediately. But that being said, please don't threaten me with this whole subscribe thing, because honestly, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? Because if you're true to this, then something like this is not going to make you unsubscribe from TXC Track Time. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, don't try that. All right. So, let's dive into the whole shout out again. Hey, Chris, what's up? Hey, Najo, oh, Najdoj. Hey, Shamar. Hey, Vintage Couture. Hey, Daryl. Hey, T. Hey Kendry. So you guys are getting notifications now. Okay, that's good. That's good. Good night. All about tracks. What's up? You and Chuck Universe. What's good? Um, good night, Siobhan. What's good? I'm glad that you guys are getting notifications now. Absolutely. On the road to 40K subscribers. I think this is one of the first times I'm, covering a championships where, things aren't really going wrong. So I'm really excited for the road to 40K. Guys, please hit that subscribe button if you're here. Support the channel, help it grow. Track and field is a really small community, right? So you have to help us grow and become, one of those niches that are a thing on YouTube. You know what I mean? So you have to support by subscribing, liking, you know what I mean? Just like you do for the other gossip channels. So do that for us, please. Thank you. Obliqueville has anxiety, sports anxiety. It's kind of funny because I think I saw a take, earlier today with Oral Tracy, and I remember the national championships when everybody attacked me when I said he had a mental breakdown. And there's nothing wrong with having a mental break. Because people highlight it doesn't mean that there's something necessarily wrong because this happens to you. But I think it's important, you acknowledging that these things are, going on with you, and that's the only way it can, be resolved. And I've, been through this whole thing with a lot of the civilians over the years, and I guess that's part of the reason why Oblique Civil probably can't stand me. Who knows? You know what I mean? But I pointed this out, and I'm like, it's okay to get a sports psychologist. Every athlete isn't the same. Every athlete isn't Usain Bolt, and it's so interesting because Usain Bolt did an interview, and I challenge you guys to go watch the interview. I believe it's on a channel called High Performance, something like that. It's a over our interview, and he said something very interesting. He said back in 2008 he was very nervous, right? But he was scared to go to Glenn Mills because of what Glenn Mills would say to him. So he kind of just sucked it up and, went out there and competed. You know what I mean? That's him. He was able to resolve the issue on his own. Some other athletes are not the same. So some athletes need, to speak to a therapist. Sharika Jackson is one of those athletes that tell you that she speaks to her therapist, and it's able to help her get through, the hard times, the tough times. She talks about 2024. She almost quit. She needed a therapist during all of this. And I think about now when I'm watching Oblique Civil and everybody's no pretending like it's a no thing. And I'm like, it wasn't a no thing. He has been asking for help for years, and you guys were just like, oh, he's injured. He's injured. Nothing is wrong with him. And I'm like, don't do that. Y'all shouldn't do that. So I'm hoping that because I see a few people saying online that hey, they're hoping that Usain Bolt is able to reach out to him. I'm praying that somebody from his camp is able to reach out and get him some, help to stabilize what's going on right now, because we honestly need Oblique Civil to be able to compete strongly, not for us, but for him, right? For him. I need him to forget every single soul, his family, the fans, everybody, and just focus on Oblique Civil and do what Oblique Civil can do. You know what I mean? But I do think he needs some help getting to that mental state of calmness and readiness. And yeah, it's only assistance that's going to do that. So let's see what happens though, as it progresses. But no, I don't even want to harp on it too much, because sometimes I say these things and you all think I wish our athletes bad. I love Oblique Civil. I want the best for him. You know what I mean? But I think it's important to, to highlight certain things if you expect a resolution. You know what I mean? So let's see how it goes. Where am I? Hey, Hyacinth, what's up? Hey, Roxanne, what time is the race? So the first race from a Jamaican perspective comes up at 9:05 p.m. That's the women's 100-meter hurdles. We'll get through that. On track right now is the men's 1500 meters. The second heat is on track. All right. So, hey Samuel, what's up? Greetings from Birmingham. Welcome. I know it's pretty late for you guys, or pretty early in the morning. Hey Stephanie. Hey Alex. Who made the men's 100-meter finals? The semifinals comes up tomorrow morning, so they have to run the semifinals first. And once they get through the semifinals, then we know who will make the finals. And it's gonna be a nerve-wracking moment, but we'll be here nonetheless, repping our athletes, rep your country to the fullest. And yeah, at the end of the day, may the chips fall where they may. Um, Hey Karen, what's up? Hey Sports Guru. Hey Orlando. Hey Kim. Can't Bolt step in and speak with him? I see a lot of people saying that online, and I'm honestly hoping that someone can step in. You know what I mean? But the positive side of it is that it happened in the heats, and it's probably the best place for it to happen. So, and not in the finals. You know what I mean? So let's see. I'm thinking that this is a change for the better. So if anything is gonna happen and you mess up in the heat and you still make it through, great. You can adjust. Jack, many athletes have a therapist. As a matter of fact, if you speak to majority of the American athletes, I don't know an American athlete that doesn't have a therapist. I don't know an American athlete that does not have a therapist. Right? It's only the Jamaicans, one and two, maybe elite athletes, you hear be able to afford it because, of course, it's something expensive. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think every, elite athlete needs it. Da, da, da. Kadeen, don't give up on him. He's still very young, 24. There's a lot in store for him. Shelly said she was nervous in 2007 also at Tokyo. 2007? Shelly didn't compete individual. Shelly competed in the relay. So, okay. Um, I'm watching you react when the Jamaicans lose. All right, Petty London, and I'll be here when the Americans lose as well. Oh my gosh, hey Roland, what's up? No, it's just funny when she think they gonna win and they lose. So I'm curious. Are y'all expecting me to not carry my team? I'm gonna carry my team. You know what I mean? I am gonna carry my team. Absolutely 100%. So that's not gonna change. Um, I take it Karika, the alternate isn't in Tokyo. So I'm glad you brought this up. Consciously yours, right? Or consciously ours, right? So Karika Hill is not in Tokyo because they do not carry alternates, as a part of the team because here's the funny part. Carrying an alternate comes at a cost. Hmm. Hmm. Cost. Did I not tell the Trace that I don't want to hear nothing about money ever again? That should not be an excuse. I don't care what anybody wants to say. That should never be an excuse. All right, Rat, I'm recording. You have to go outside. Come. I'm going to close the door on you, because you love coming inside. If people want to see rats, let me show them rats. When he was born, he looked just like a little rat, so I call him Rat. Anyway, what was I saying? So it's about not being able to afford the alternates, to stay outside the village because they can't stay with the athletes that are part of the team, and just have them wait there in vain, for the most part, because they never really know if we're going to need an alternate, right? So they rather not spend the money. Let's put it that way. To have alternates in waiting, and the reality is that Kerry Cahill is too far from Japan. You know what I mean? It will take her 2 days to get there. The women's 100-meter hurdles runs, in a few hours. So yeah, she's not gonna be there. Why did this stream stop? Okay, let me refresh this. I'm not sure what's going on with my stream. Which Wi-Fi am I connected to? Oh, okay. All right. Any finals done so far, and who are the medalists? From a Jamaican perspective, we missed out on one finals that I believe that we had a potential of medaling in. Many people didn't think so. I did, and nothing is going to convince me otherwise, even with us not qualifying to the finals, and that is the mixed 4 by 400 meters. If you look at the team, pound for pound, right, we were, one of the better teams on the day. The athletes, or a couple of the athletes, did not perform. And by couple, I mean because a lot of times we not the men. So I think it's okay when we highlight when it's not a male issue. But this time around, it was the females. And I can't really put my finger on whether or not, they, well, Leah said she burnt out, in the race. So that's that. So there's no questioning that because she said that herself. But I'm thinking about Dejane, and she competes in the individual 400 meters for Jamaica. And I'm thinking that is it a case where it's been a long season, she's collegiate, she can know her body has now, reached the limit, or is it a case where she just didn't want to do too much in the mixed four, and everything just went downhill? I can't understand, but her leg for me, even though Leah ran the slowest leg, which was 53 seconds, her leg for me, I have to say, was the most disappointing because she was one of the few sub 50 athletes in the race. And I mean, gosh, maybe only three sub 50 athletes were actually in that mixed 4 by 4 for women, that is. And you would be expecting a certain level of performance from a sub 50 athlete, and we didn't get it. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to reconcile in my mind why, is the case again where she's reached her max for the season, and she's just kind of petered out, or is it a case where It was just because it was a mixed four and she didn't take it seriously. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have to wait until I see her participation in the 400 meters to see exactly how she competes there. But I am disappointed in the performance of the ladies, for the most part, because we could have done it. We had the team to do it. You love to put your nails on me. Take them down. You're cutting me too much, right? So yeah, that's the only finals from a Jamaican perspective that has been completed. So completed so far. T, we appreciate you and your sports coverage. T Jamaica all day, every day. I appreciate you. Thank you, Amar. Dawn, the cat named Rat. If you ever saw him when he was born, it was really a rat. I was like, okay, child, you're a rat. um, Even when our Jamaicans lose, we're still cheering for them. Absolutely. Do you think the men will win under 978? All right, Paris 2024, and I think Paris is probably one a fast track as well, right? So you have to take that into consideration. But outside of that, the men's 100-meter race was won in 9.79 seconds. And, when we think about Kishane Thompson's season, thus far in 2024, going into the Olympic Games, 9.77 seconds. And you think about an athlete that executed his worst race all year and still managed to run 9.79 going into 2025 into the world championships as well, 9.75, looking at an athlete that is also technically executing much better, a much more confident athlete as well. He's been there, he knows the level, of pressure, that is placed on an athlete at that level when you're at that start line. And yeah, I think he'll be able to navigate it, much better than he did in 2024. He medaled in 2024, first time ever at this level, first season, running professionally and, representing the national team and doing so well. I think nothing stands in his way. In 2025, meaning that I am expecting him to be able to potentially better that 9.75 that we saw at the national championships. And I'm also expecting Oblique Seville to run faster, dip below that magical 9.7 barrier. How much faster? I don't necessarily think it's going to be as fast as Akishane, but I do expect him to be able to execute a really good race. But I was hearing about Megan Tapper's situation for days, so they must have known. Yeah, but the athlete themselves. So it's one thing about hearing that an athlete is injured, and it's another thing when the athlete decides to withdraw. So we don't know when she decided to withdraw. So when you take those things into consideration, stop. When you take those things into consideration, then yes, I get what you're saying, but I don't necessarily think the management team could have probably done anything about it. Because even if you go back to 2020 four and think about, the whole Sherika Jackson thing, though we didn't have anybody to take her place, right? You wouldn't know that she would have been pulling out, with an injury until she said it. You know what I mean? So again, it's really down to the athletes and their team to, I guess, quote unquote, do the right thing in a situation like this and pull out so that somebody else can potentially have the opportunity. But also, you have to keep in mind that the athlete worked hard to get here and they're probably trying their best to resolve the issue, right? See if they can patch up their leg and run because everybody wants to run. There's nobody that's here that made it, that earned their spot, that doesn't want to run, right? So I'm sure she was trying her hardest to make it work. And I suppose she just got to the point where she just realized that it wasn't going to work. You know what I mean? And she was like, all right, I just have to withdraw. She should have been in Europe. Again, it comes at a cost, and the J3s apparently doesn't want to soak up that cost. Why, when they have the money? I don't know. Thank you, Carrie, for that 4.99 super sticker. I appreciate it. All I know is the mixed relay was a disaster. Yeah, it is what it is at this point. I mean, if we're going into that mixed 4x4, I don't know if some of y'all were on stream this morning when I was talking about it, but you know that Zandri and Barnes split the fastest split of all the men. in that mixed 4x4. And on his first leg, Javon Powell split the third fastest time. I told y'all that Jamaica handed over in third place. He split the third fastest leg. You know, if the ladies had just carried their weight, it could have worked. But oh my, you know what? I need to stop crying over spilled milk. It is what it is. Nayoka fouled her first throw. Okay. Um, we better use the 400 hurdlers on that relay. Ah, I don't know just yet. When it comes to the 400-meter hurdlers, I don't think they're giving me strength as well this season, to be fair, or their strongest season. But I suppose we can always look at Andrew Knight. She's the only one I would probably consider, right? But I still want to see what Dejanay Oakley does in the individual events. You know what I mean? I want to have a proper gauge to see if this is just a her done for the season thing, or it was just for the mixed 4x4 where she's like, listen, I want to save my legs for my individual event. Thanks, Courtney. Um, are we having races tonight? Yes, we are. The women's 100-meter hurdles heats comes up at 9:05 Jamaica time, that is, and right now it is 7:26 my time. Um, T, don't pay attention to the haters. No, it's not about a hater thing, you know, guys. I just don't appreciate you guys threatening me all the time. Like, I don't see you guys do it on any other channel. You don't threaten anybody. When people say things you don't agree with, you don't go around throwing around, oh, I'm gonna unsubscribe, oh, I'm gonna unsubscribe. As soon as I say something that you all don't agree with, oh, I'm gonna unsubscribe. You're not gonna always say things that you all are gonna agree with. You have your opinion, I have mine, and we can split the difference. I think that should be fair. But it's like there's an expectation, you know, that I must always say something that is pleasing to everybody. How that gonna work? That not gonna work. Me not gonna please everybody. And I think that if the cookie crumbles at the end of the day and just, you know, roll with it. I don't, you know, particularly go around disrespecting athletes. You know what I mean? So if I'm not disrespecting your athletes and I'm just giving a fair, you know, analysis based on my perspective, I don't really see the problem. And again, when I blunder, guys, I can take the fault for when I blunder. You know what I mean? And as I said, my bad. I definitely messed up there, and I can take responsibility for that. But I don't like when it comes with a threat. Barnes, yeah, Barnes did 44. Oh, it was the fastest split. So it was just, you know, really sad watching it. But oh well. Um, T-Vex, I'm not upset. You're breaking T. The sound is, oh, the sound is not sound T. Is it my mic? Does my mic sound bad? Is it that my mic is not sounding right? So the American athlete is no longer leading. The Ethiopian Asefa is leading, and the Kenyan is in second place. So you're starting to see a few of the faves come through in the women's what is the name, marathon. I think I'm still trying to figure out how to maneuver everything that I have in front of me, and it's, you know, it's kind of weird because I have to angle my mouth to the side, kind of. Um, it's very static. When you get excited, the mic chips out when you're speaking. I know that's been a problem from last year, and I don't know because I have it on the right. Where's the setting thing? I have it on the right setting. It has 4 nodes, and I actually have it on the right setting, but I don't know why it does this. It shouldn't chip out, but uh, It sounds choppy and re-enable it and see audio. Let me just go to my
regular audio for a moment. All right, I guess you guys are probably hearing background noise right now. That's my computer's audio. How does that sound? How does that sound in comparison to the mic? I would like to know the difference. Guys, please hit the like button once you're here. I would appreciate it. The sound was not like that before, no. I don't know. You know, sometimes applications bug out, guys. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm gonna try to add it back. I'm gonna try to add it back. So I'm not using my mic now. Now I'm using the computer audio. The sound is good now? Really? So you don't hear like a whole lot of background noise? Like the ambience? All right, let's go into some of the results here because the second and third heat for the 1500 meters is done, and here we have Jakob Ingebrigtsen running back in this men's 1500 meters. Yeah, because he's that good. He can just wait until the final 200 and just give a little kick and beat everybody. So let's see how that goes. But let me see if I can tell you the results for the other heats. So heat one was won by Nordas from Norway, then another Norwegian. Jakob is still at the back. Okay. The second race was won by the Italian Arisi. What was interesting was Yared Nagus not making the team. The American team, that is. I think that was probably one of the biggest shockers in this men's 1500 meters this year. Cole Hawker from USA took heat 3, and now heat 4 is live on the track. Oh, Timothy Chariot is there. Timothy Chariot is still competing strongly, I like that. It's still breaking. Let me try to add back the mic and see, guys. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if it's... Oh, actually, I saw that YouTube was having some technical issues with their live, so I don't know. Maybe it's something with the app itself. And honestly, there's not much that I can do about that. Just have to tough it out for the most part.
All right, how is it now? Is it any better? I'm back to my mic. Is it any better? Still breaking. I don't know. I would want to leave it and come back, but let me try to open it again and see if there's any difference. Let me see if I close it and open it again, if there's any difference. Okay. Am I still breaking? How is it now? Should be much better now, hopefully. Oh wow, an athlete fell. So the second fastest man in the world went down, and he's running back. But me don't know if he's gonna have the legs for this. Lord of mercy, the poor Kenyan. Lord of God. Wait, I don't see Jakob. Jakob is still there. Oh, I think I see Jakob on the inside. Oh yeah, Jacob is still there. But Lord God, Jacob get run out of this too. Cock of heart. Okay. So two big blows here. Jacob out plus the second fastest athlete in the world out. Hmm. This is why I don't like slow tactical races. Me not like. You know what I mean? I think these athletes just need to run a great balanced race, and it would probably be better for them rather than trying to run slow and tactical. Slow and tactical doesn't seem to work all the time. Something I have open is giving me feedback. What is giving feedback? I don't know. Guys, I see 159 likes. Can you please hit the like button? I would appreciate it. Yes, guys, please remember to hit the like. Oh my gosh, he went down. Kenya suffers a heavy blow. It's a That's another spill right there. I don't know if you can consider the Jakob one a spill. You know what I mean? He just, didn't run good. You know what I mean? But the Kenyan athlete for sure, that was a spill. For sure. Yeah, Ingebrigtsen is out. Jakob Ingebrigtsen is out. All right, so they're back to the marathon. Kenya, I think is 1-2. Either Kenya and Bahrain. Listen, these uniforms are throwing me off. I don't know who's who anymore. Is that Kenya and Ethiopia? Oh, Kenya and Ethiopia. No, yeah, Kenya and Ethiopia. And then they seem to be leading by far, though. I don't see anybody close. When it comes to middle and long distance, these nations are really, really good. Really, really good. All right, so the stream is on a break. While that's on a break, let me see if I can dive into. Did I tell you who won Heat 4? Um, Jake Whiteman won Heat 4 from Great Britain. So yeah, that's the final 1500-meter heat. So nothing on the track until the women's 100-meter heat, which is 100-meter hurdles. That is, which comes up in a little bit over an hour. And I'm gonna go through the start list now. We can talk about how things look. I kind of like doing things with a blind reaction. I think it challenges me when I do things blindly, right? And yeah, so let's go. In heat one, we have Denisha Cartwright um, from Bahamas. In lane two, we have Victoria Foster. In lane three, Masai Russell, the Olympic champion. Lane five, Loka Kozak from Hungary. We have Marianne Fori in lane seven. Okay, sorry, they're not using lane one and lane two. So it starts at lane three. So Marianne Fori comes in lane seven from South Africa. Sarah Labin from Ireland is in lane eight. And from China, Yanni Wu. So, I mean, I think this race is pretty straightforward when it comes to the winner. So I expect that Masai Russell is going to take this without being challenged at all. As a matter of fact, she can practically jog this race. Nobody's within what's it, half a second of her, pretty much when it comes to this women's 100-meter hurdles. Well, a little less than half a second, but still, it's a big gap. Right. So yeah, this is gonna be an easy qualification for her. Look out for the likes of potentially Foster or Forster, sorry, right? Look out for as well Marie Fori, Marion Fori, sorry. Sarah Lavin is someone to always keep your eyes on as well. But for the most part, yeah, let's see how these women are able to navigate the first heat. But yeah, Masai takes it quite easily. and they take, I don't see how much they're telling me that they take. Usually they have it up there. My assumption is they take 3, right? So let's keep going. In heat 2, we have, what is this? Hong Kong? Hong Kong, China? All right. So we have Lai Yu Lu, and then we have Yemi Tanaka from Japan in lane 3. Then Sacha from France in lane 4. Then we have Asia Laurentien from St. Lucia, right? So we're seeing a number of St. Lucian athletes come through. She's in lane 5. Then we have Danielle Williams, the defending world champion, in lane 6. We have Elisha Johnson in lane 7, and we have Karim Stramitz in lane 8, and we have in lane 9 Si Mai Sieng Huing. Okay, I'm sure I butchered that. Apologies. All right, so it's gonna be interesting between Daniel Williams and Elisha Johnson. The times done so far this season are very, very close. 12.31 versus 12.32. One running a personal best, one running a season's best. And interestingly, their personal bests are the same. 12.31, right? I think what is going to come down to is consistency. Alicia Johnson doesn't give me, that she's the most consistent athlete, right? But even though she's not the most consistent, she also, will come out and run a really good, race. So that doesn't mean she's out, but I'm still gonna go with or give the nod to at least Danielle Williams, and then I'm gonna say Alicia Johnson, comes in next. For the other positions, yeah, keep your eyes on the St. Lucian. The French athletes are always good, so I'll always keep my eyes on them as well, for sure. So let's see how that goes. But 1-2, I'm going with Danielle Williams and Alicia Johnson. Lane Heat 3, that is. Megan Tapper not there. She's still, listed, but we all know that she has withdrew from the competition. So no Megan Tapper. So Nadine. Oh, so them actually put Nadine Visser and Megan Tapper on the same meet? Oh, see this. Megan Tapper is ranked 15th and Nadine Visser was ranked 3rd. How would this ranking here? I'm sorry, guys. May just have to go open up Nadine Visa season because before Nadine Visa was running these mad times, I want to see what she was running throughout the whole season while she's ranked 3rd. Third? I mean, I look on the ranking properly. What are her times? What is this? Hurdles. Okay. She ran a few hundred meters. So before that 12.28, she was between 12.4 and 12.6. So before she ran a 12.39, but that was a positive wind. All right. So before the 12.28, she was between 12.4 mids and 12.6s. Right? Let me go back to this so-called world ranking. Wait, no, this area, yeah. Is this a ranking or what is this? So, oh, Nadine Visa ranked 3rd in the world. Oh, this work track is. So you mean to tell me we have Masai Russell running so well, Grace Stark running so well, Akira Nugent running so well, Megan Tapper running so well, Danielle Williams running so well, Alicia Johnson running so well, every American that you can think about running so well. And Nadine Visa is ranked 3rd in the world? Let me go in the comments to see what I say. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I missed something. Did Nadine Visa do something that I'm not sure about that why she's ranked 3rd in the world? Vintage Couture, you might be right. You might be right. They will appeal it, and I didn't see when he fell. I just know he fell. But if he was pushed, then I'm sure he will be brought forward. it's a long distance race, so it's not like it's going to be taking up any lanes. So I'm sure he will be brought forward to the next round. And if that's the case, then it's not necessarily a spill. Um, I'm trying to see what you guys are saying about Nadine Visser because I'm confused. I'm not saying Visser hasn't been having a great season. I'm asking how is she ranked third in the world? You have a number of athletes that if we're going off for 12-8, we have Toby Amusan that is faster. We have Tia Jones that is faster. Of course, the Olympic champion is faster. Grace Stark is faster. Who else? Who am I missing? Are those so maybe she did some races that we're not privy to. Well, I guess he probably not show up on World Athletics because her season doesn't look better than what I saw a number of the athletes doing across the Diamond League circuit, or before what's it called, Grand Slam crashed and burned. Right? It doesn't look better than what I saw those athletes doing. So it's kind of confusing to me. But anyway, she's ranked third in the world. So who knows? Let's go back into my prediction. So Nadine Fisher is ranked third in the world. All right. And Megan Tapper is ranked 15th. No, don't get me wrong. Before the national championships, where she ran her 12.34, Megan Tapper, has been pretty much running mid to backpack, right? So I'm not really mad at her ranking. I'm just confused at Nadine Visser's ranking. As a matter of fact, let me go back and look who's ranked second. Masai Rossi is ranked second. So who ranked first? I'm off Akira. Royal Akira ranked fifth. So who's number one? A Grace Stark? I'll have a Grace Stark then. Okay, so Grace Stark is ranked number one. Okay, that can make sense. She was definitely the most consistent athlete all season. So I'll give her that. Absolutely. I mean, before she picked up some kind of injury setback and went into the USA Championship. I don't think I've heard her talk about it. If anybody heard Grace Stark, talk about it, you can tell me in the chat. But I'm sure something happened to her. But before that, she was really dominating all season. So yeah, I'm for that ranking for Grace Stark. But okay, all right. Back to Heat 3. So as I said, no Megan Tupper. So I believe this is a race for Nadine Visser. I don't think she'll be challenged here, or she should not be challenged, right? Look out for the likes of. Honestly, the rest of these athletes are running the same times, so anyone can make it through. Outside of maybe a couple that are over 13 seconds, the rest of the athletes are literally within a few hundreds of each other. So look out for anybody else. Nadine Visser is the clear favorite in this race. So Akira Nugent runs with Ditaji Kambunji. I'm liking Ditaji Kambunji. She's definitely come on in recent times. So I'm intrigued to see how she navigates this championship. Actually, she's one of those athletes that can spring a surprise as well. I don't think I talked about her much in my preview, but she's definitely one of those athletes that can spring a surprise. That said, I think Akira Nugent is favorite in this race. I think she takes the win. Actually, I'm looking to see her challenge for gold. So she better make sure that she comes and she executes good. And honestly, the most important thing that I'm looking for when it comes to Akira Nugent is execution. I know she's talented. She's mad talented, but she has to get clean. You know what I mean? Her start has to get right. And I think for the most part, that's why you have the likes of Masai Russell defeating her, a few times. And that is because, when you look at how Masai hurdles, you're seeing no wasted movement. When you look at Grace Stark, no wasted movement. A lot of times I'm watching Akira through this season and I'm going, girl, what's going on with your technique? What going on, so? Enough fix. You know what I mean? That's how I feel sometimes when I'm looking at her, hurdling throughout the season. So the last few weeks, I'm hoping that they did something right. And I'm hoping that we see her turn up here sharp and ready to rumble. Have her as the favorite. Looking out for the likes of, as I said, Ditaji Kambunji. I mean, Charisma Taylor is also here from the Bahamas, so you can keep your eyes on her. From Netherlands as well. Oh, what's the name I pronounce? Mikey. Gina Lim, right, is also there. But the times are very close, Tracky. So anybody can make it because they're within a few hundreds of each other. So really actually just keep your eyes on the likes of Akira Nugent and the Taji Kambunji. Amoy Brown comes up next. Amoy Brown, who does she have with her? Okay, so P.S. Rajoska is there. And also, oh, Grace Stark. All right. This is a race that Amoy Brown can actually navigate. I'm actually looking forward to seeing that. So they should take, as I said, it should be three automatic. So if it's three automatic, she should be in top three. But you still have to keep your eyes on a couple of those athletes that will spring surprises. So I'm hoping that she comes out and she gives me one of those. It's the heats. So maybe I'll get something like 12 or 6-ish slash 8-ish. I mean, if she runs that, then she's running a personal best. But, you know, well, no, 12.51 is her PB. So she can give me a 12.6. She can definitely come into this race. This is MVP. Their athletes should be ready to go. So she should be able to give me a competent 12.6 slash 12.7 in this in her heat and qualify. Let's see. Final heat. Toby Amazon comes up. So looking out for her. I've actually moved up Toby Amazon to bronze because, of course, there's no Megan Tapper, and I had her in fourth. So I'm gonna say, of course, I have Akira challenging for gold, right, with Masai Russell. So that takes up 2 medals. So I'm gonna say Toby Amazon. I want to see Grace Stark. Before I call Toby Amerson, I want to take one look at Grace Stark in the heats to see exactly what she gives. Because honestly, if she's giving me what I think she can give me, then she can potentially challenge for that bronze medal as well. Um, and then Danielle, she's an outside shot. But you know what Danielle says? She never really goes into these competitions as favorites and as a favorite, that is, and she turns up and does a big and pulls out a big one. So let's see what Danielle can do. But I don't have her medaling as things stand right now. But again, she can surprise me. I'll be excited. So Toby takes this one, I think. Devin Charlton hasn't been having the strongest season. Let's see how she turns up. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that she runs well. So yeah, let's see how it goes for the women's 100-meter hurdles. We're a bit away from it. Still, have over an hour per se. So yeah. Coach is back in. Okay, good. That's good. She ran more races. Okay. Okay. I get you. I mean, I still don't think she deserves third rank, but okay. Um, I went to church today. How did the men's 100 meters go? The men's 100-meter heats. Were there any surprises? I guess the only surprise. No, Courtney Lindsay did make it. So, I mean, I guess the only surprise would be T. Mars McCullum not making it through the first round. But outside of T. Mars McCullum, everybody that I believe you were thinking would feature qualified. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think there are any surprises from that perspective. From an execution perspective, we saw a few things that made us go, "What the heck is going on?" Oblique Civil, to be specific, sat in the blocks pretty much, and then had to run back on the field, but I guess at that particular moment, the only thing you can think is, "Well, I'm glad it happened here," which is you're glad it happened in the heat, right? So that's my only thought process there. But for the most part, the men all looked good. The key figures, that is, they all looked good, and we're expecting a thrilling semifinals. How Megan is ranked so low? No, for the most part, Megan, So remember, if you go back to Megan competing like at the Grand Slam, right? Remember, she wasn't one of the athletes that were at the front of the pack. She was pretty much as a matter of fact, and I don't even know if they use those Grand Slam races as part of their ranking. Now that I think about it, because remember, you do 2 races at Grand Slam. So that's interesting. But anyway, for the most part, she's been mid pack. right? And she only ran two fast races, national championships and the Diamond League race that she won. So I don't necessarily think that that makes her go above certain athletes, you know what I mean? But yeah. All right, so Kenya looks like there. No, the Ethiopian hasn't given up. Oh no, she takes it. So Kenya wins the marathon, Ethiopia second. Let's see who comes in for bronze. Yeah, Obley came third in his heat, but I still don't think it's like a cause for concern for the most part. Did Jamaica get a replacement? So Jamaica has not gotten a replacement for any of the athletes that pulled out. So Rochelle Clayton pulled out of the 400-meter hurdles due to injury. Shanique Walker unfortunately did not take the gene test. From all accounts, it seems as though she probably dropped the ball on her end, and as such, yeah, she's not able to represent in Tokyo. So the story supposedly goes. World Athletics, of course, announced that women have to take a one-time gene test to prove that they're women. Okay, fine. I'm actually for that. Great, as I don't want men competing with women. It's always something that makes it irks me because I'm wondering why men are trying to compete as women, right? But anyway, um, that being said, that one-time gene test has to be taken by every woman. Apparently, this is not something that World Athletics facilitates. I thought it was something that they would facilitate. Apparently, each athlete, on their own would have to facilitate it themselves. And I suppose if you have a competent federation, then they would probably carry the bulk of the workload, right? So let's use USA for example. At the USA Championships, I believe they say that they, tested a lot of the athletes. Therefore, did the gene test for a lot of the women there, right? Outside of that, though, as I said, for the most part, it's the onus of the athlete to get it done. Apparently, the J3s made accommodations, for the Jamaican athletes. They sought, the athletes that were not tested and asked them to be a part of the testing for the Pan American Championships. And somehow Shanique Walker didn't notify the J3s that she was not tested. So a few people reached out to the J3s that they were not tested. J3s put them on a list and say, okay. They sent, the doctor down to the Pan American Championships that was held in, what was it, Bahamas? Yeah, I think it was in Bahamas, right? Yeah, Bahamas. And went down there. Eventually, they ended up testing a whole bunch of other people because it was a perfect opportunity to get those athletes as well, tested from the region, right? That, didn't have a way to get tested. So they did all those tests. Sanique Walker said she took a look at the list and didn't see her name. So she didn't go get tested. But the J3s is like, you didn't put yourself on the list because we asked all the people who weren't tested to make yourself be known. So it seems as though she and her team kind of dropped the ball on her end and didn't, make herself available to get the test. So it is what it is, guys. Unfortunately, she gets left out of the World Championships. I suppose no. Um, I think athletes in general, professional athletes in general, have to understand their responsibility as well. So a lot of times we blame the J3s, and y'all know when the J3s blunders, I'm one of the first people to jump up here and bite their heads off, right? But I also want the athletes to be responsible. So sometimes like when you hear athletes say, "Oh, they didn't update their whereabouts," I'm like, you're a professional athlete. This is your job. There shouldn't be a situation where you didn't update your whereabouts. You know what I mean? That should be like you getting up and using the bathroom. That's like how you know if you use the bathroom, you know if you update your whereabouts. That kind of thing. So it's always strange to me sometimes when I hear athletes say they forget to do stuff like that because I'm like, okay, are you taking your job serious? Right? So it's the same thing when it comes to these little things. understanding the sport, understanding your responsibility and how to get yourself to the next level. And if you do not have the support, because again, not everybody has the know-how to get it done, you seek assistance. So case in point, Bruce James, on TVJ said, hey, guess what? Our athletes were in Italy. They don't speak Italian, right? So their team, had to come together as from an MVP perspective and, sort out the paperwork for all their athletes to get tested. He said when they got back the results, it was in Italian. They don't know what it said. They're just hoping that it said something female related. You know what I mean? So if you don't have that type of support system around you, which every athlete doesn't have, and I admit to that, it's still your responsibility to kind of reach out to J Trace and say, hey, J Trace, can you help? If you reach out to J Trace and J Trace no answer, then would understand. But you have to take the first step, in my opinion. And as it relates to Kerika Hill will not be able to make it because she's 2 days away from Japan. And yeah, the heats for the women's 100 meters hurdles begins now. Where am I? I'm lost. Okay, I found the replacement. Okay. Veronica says, my sister's cat is named Poppy. Oh my God, we Jamaicans are crazy when it comes to naming things. I swear. Um, I think it's a Diamond League points. I'm wondering about that because I don't think World Athletics recognizes what they call it, Grand Slam. I don't think it recognizes Grand Slam. I'll have to double check. But I think there was some concern about that earlier on in the season. Unfortunately, there's an European agent that is involved in the what is drugs of many long distance athletes, including some Kenyans, and some are getting caught. Yeah, a number of athletes have gotten caught in recent times. But you know what, Chuck, is I'm one of the type of persons like this. I rather, enjoy the sport at face value and not try to think too deeply into anything. So let's say, for instance, you see a Kenyan win. We just saw a Kenyan win the marathon. I'm not going to automatically suspect her because a Kenyan was caught a few weeks ago. You know what I mean? So I think that makes me still, enjoy the sport because if I start side eyeing everybody, then I probably will stop liking track and field. So I'm not gonna take the stance of side eyeing everybody. Whoever gets caught, and then they serve their ban, or if they're banned entirely from the sport, then you get what you deserve. But for the most part, yeah, I just like to enjoy the sport, and I don't want to think too deeply about it. Hey, Curls Beauty, what's up? What's happening so far? Let me go to Nayoka Clunis. Me forget about Nayoka out this whole time. So Nayoka Clunis competed in the women's hammer throw. Group A done already, it seems. Ooh, looks like she didn't get over 70 meters. So her furthest throw was 68.24 meters, and she would have required a 74 meters on the nose to automatically qualify to the finals, which she didn't do here. So unfortunately, she doesn't make it into the finals. But I want to also let you all understand that you have to be realistic as well when it comes to the performances. For her to throw 74 meters, she would have to throw a new personal best and national record, right? And her national record is 72.2. I think one. Let me see, 72 points. Let me double check. Is it 72? I think it's 72. 70 or is it 71? One second. No, sorry. Her national record is 71.83. So it would take some going for her just to, qualify out of the actual heat. But again, we appreciate the representation from Nayoka Kunis, and we can just only hope that she continues to grow and also other young athletes see her competing in the hammer throw, and we have a number of athletes, that are able to step up eventually and join her, and that's how the event will continue to grow, in my opinion, right? But yeah, we appreciate her representation, absolutely. I didn't get to see her in her panty though. She said she was gonna compete in her panty, but I didn't see it. Jamaica did. Our athletes never made themselves available. Right. So, guys, athletes also have a responsibility as well. So, not everything is the fault of the administration. The athletes have to take some responsibility, in regards to some of the things that's happening. Not everything, because, of course, y'all know when it's the J3s, I'm going to look at the J3s and go, Like, say, for instance, in an instant like Karika Hill, not, available to take the spot of a Megan Tapper. She's 2 days away. The question is being asked, why is it that our alternate athletes are not being housed close close enough, to the facility, so that in case anything goes wrong, then they're readily available, right? So those are the questions that we have to ask and look at, those things going forward. And I don't want it to be a case where J3 says we don't have the money, because you should have the money, or you're not doing your job correctly in terms of negotiating for a better deal for Jamaica. Jamaica is one of the best teams in the world in track and field. You should be negotiating a contract that will serve our athletes. Serve our athletes in the case where, guess what? Just like Team America, if they have their alternates on standby, we need to also have our alternates on standby. Too many administrative blunders. You know what I appreciate in present times? There's so many people that are speaking up and speaking out about, the happenings with the administration. And I have to say that so far, things have improved a bit slightly. Not, it's not all the way there, but I can see the effort slightly being made to make things seem as though, let's just say seem. Hmm, seem as though it's better. You know what I mean? So I think, growth isn't something that just happens overnight, and there's no quick fix to anything. So I think that as long as we're seeing gradual growth and gradual improvement in terms of the governing body and how they treat the athletes and how they're there to support the athletes, and we continue to hold them accountable, then yeah, and we are holding them accountable in these spaces. So, me on YouTube, you have a number of other persons on YouTube, you have other persons on other platforms that come out and speak up, in support of the athletes and ensuring that they, get the support they need. So just time, it's just time, you know what I mean? Time will see, it get better, at least hopefully. Hopefully. Not even that. Why is it you put down the alternates that can't fulfill obligations if required? Right, so that's the whole point of an alternate. But remember, the alternates are not housed in the village where, the other athletes are housed. So it will have to be something that the administration, so every country's administration would have to be willing to foot the bill, for all these alternates to be housed elsewhere, right? But as I said, personally, I don't think J3 should be complaining about money. So let's see. Hi, Lyndon. Anytime, no, the 100-meter semifinal should start. No, not no. It's tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, let me tell you the exact time. Tomorrow morning so that's the evening session. So tomorrow morning, the evening session begins at 4:30 a.m., right? And it begins with a men's 400-meter heats, right? So again, we have Jamaican representation there, so we look out for that. The men's high jump qualification begins at 4:40. We have Jamaican representation, we look out for that. The women's discus throw final begins. We have Samantha Hall there, that's 5:12. So we look out for her representing there. The women's 400 meter heats, 400 meter heats comes up at 5:25. We have representation there. Let's look out for that. The women's 100 meter semifinal comes up at 6:20 a.m. We have representation there, so we look out for that. We don't have anybody in the women's long jump final, but that comes up at 6:40. The men's 100 meters semifinal comes up at 6:45. We have representation there. We look out for that. The women's 1500 meters semifinal comes up at 7:07. We do not have any representation there. Adele Tracy didn't make it through. She said in an interview that a few days prior, a bag fell on her foot and she was feeling some discomfort, so she wasn't able to compete as strongly as she would have liked to. So that is why she, competed the way she did, and of course, she was very disappointed in her effort. But of course, we always appreciate our athletes and them representing. Um, the women's 100-meter finals now. No, before that, the men's 10,000-meter finals comes up at 7:30. We do not have any representation there. The women's 100-meter finals comes up at 8:13. And of course, we're hoping that we have representation there. And of course, the men's 100-meter finals comes up at 8:20. And the same thing, we're hoping that we have representation there. So I'll be on stream for the beginning of the stream, so that will be 4:35, sorry, a.m. So you can look up. Well, I'll probably start maybe at 4:20-ish, right? So that we can go over the heat sheets and stuff like that. Thank God it's a little later this morning, tomorrow morning, so that I can, get a little rest at least, right? So yeah, that's what comes up. The women's 100-meter hurdles comes up at 9:05. So we have a little less than an hour to go. I like your optimism, T. With what? The body? I mean, we can only hope that things get better, guys. I don't want to be pessimistic with everything, and look at everything negatively. You know what I mean? Um, so much is, in the public's eye now, especially, all right, back in the day when you think about the 4 by 100 meters, and think about how many years we've been complaining about the 4 by 100 meters and talking about the relay pool and maximizing the relay pool and all these things, and all me ask about it every year, them still not maximize the relay pool. But we've gotten to the point where now they're feeling, the ripple effect. So they have to make sure that they're maximizing these things now. You're allowed to use a whole other four if you have a whole other four, right? Why not utilize them? You know what I mean? So those type of things I'm seeing where, we're actually taking the step in the right direction, and I appreciate that. As I tell people all the time, I'm for a relay pool, and I see a number of athletes that I believe that can be a part of the relay pool, right? And I know a lot of people hit out against Kadrian Golson. I'm not the type of person that holds grudges against athletes forever. You know what I mean? If something happened, and I don't want to say he did something because it's more on the coach's side, right? So if something happened, then we call it out, but we keep it pushing. That's just how I view things. I'm not going to hold something over somebody's head forever. So I love how he's running so far this season. I love how he's been representing, and I don't have a problem with him being a part of the relay pool. I am disappointed that Brian Level is not a part of the relay pool. Um, the breakdown that happened at the World Relays, it has to be rectified because, from my understanding, Michael Frater is the relay coach, and for the men. And with Michael Frater being the relay coach for the men, and given how well he's seemingly able to get the athletes to, effectively compete, he may be the relay coach going forward for the men indefinitely. I don't have a problem with him, being the relay coach. He's very experienced. He's competed very well for Jamaica, at the highest level, right? And I've, credited him a lot, when it comes to that aspect. So if there was a breakdown between Brian Level and the relay coach, my mind immediately goes to Michael Frater, right? I like them both. I like Michael Frater. I like Brian Level. I want it to work. I need them to fix it. You know what I mean? So whatever went wrong needs to be fixed so that going forward, we can have Brian Level be a part of the team. And I don't have a problem with an athlete standing their ground. You know what I mean? If you want respect sometimes in this life, you have to demand it, right? And you can't let people just box you around the place. And Jamaicans have a tendency to like to, treat you sometimes like a rug, and wipe our feet off on you kind of thing. So if you don't stand up firm and strong, then we'll kind of treat you like, So I'm not against him standing his ground in this instance. So I'm just hoping that good sense prevails though eventually, and we have something resolved, because if you're looking at a man that is potentially your best relay coach for the men's side, and we're seeing improvements, and I am seeing improvements, right? And I'm liking it. And we have a young and upcoming athlete that has run 9.82 so far and 19.69. It would be mad to think that he's going to go his years, in my opinion, not representing Jamaica. So I don't want that to be a thing. So I'm hoping that they get it rectified. Tinola, Jacko was looking great in her heat. Absolutely. I see a few people saying I'm delusional in my take for the women. And I'm trying to figure out which part of what I said was delusional. I think you people that throw around me being delusional because you think you can. Is it because I just stand my ground when it comes to Jamaica? Probably. But anyway, so my take as it relates to the women's 100-meter heats. Not Julian Alfred. Melissa Jefferson would have looked the best in my opinion, right? Julian Alfred looked great. Sharika Jackson looked great. Tina Clayton looked, fantastic too. I think those four have set themselves apart. I didn't get to see the proper replay on Murray Jose Talu Smith. So because I didn't get to see a proper replay on what her effort looked like, I kind of have her slotted slightly lower, right? And then of course I liked what I saw from Shelley. And of course, when you think about previous history, not necessarily from a PB perspective, but from an experience perspective, when you think about navigating rounds, you understand full well that Shelley understands what is required of her to get to the next round. And you're thinking that she's doing what is required in the heats, to make sure that she has as much as possible for the semi, right? Because it means nothing if you can't make it to the finals, right? So, thinking about these things, I have Shelly, ranked, high as well. Shakiri Richardson, I've put in as well. I don't think Shakiri Richardson is defending her women's 100 meters. I see people saying Shakiri looked great. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe we didn't watch the same race, or maybe I would like somebody. So, like how I'm explaining how I thought the athletes looked, maybe you guys can tell me in the comments how exactly Shakiri, gave you the vibe that you think she's defending her title. Because there are people that came out and said Shakiri looked just as good as Sharika. And I'm saying, huh? Did we watch the same race? I don't think we watched the same race. And I think that's mainly the Americans saying it. Don't get me wrong. I think her top end is really, really good. But when you take into consideration that you'll be running against athletes that have great top ends, the give that you give in the start, you will not be able to catch them. Remember, this isn't fully fit Shakiri, right? So we're not talking about 2023 when Shakiri Richardson would have been able to run 10.65 in a championship final. We're not talking about that, or running 10.7s for the majority of the season. We're talking about a Shakiri Richardson that still hasn't broken 11 seconds, right? So when you take those things to consideration, and thinking that Melissa Jefferson Wood is going to get out of the blocks like a rocket, Julian is going to get out of the blocks like a rocket. If you saw what Sherika Jackson did, you know she's also going to get out of the blocks well. Tina is going to get out of the blocks like a rocket. Shelly, I don't think her, pocket rocket start is probably going to return, but I still think she's going to be really good out of the blocks. Talu is also going to be really good out of the blocks. Is she going to be able to run down these athletes? I don't think so. You know what I mean? Great top end and all. I don't think she'll be able to run them down. So I don't have her, medaling, and I don't know why people think that's crazy. Um, who else? When it comes to, so they're not filling the 9 lanes apparently. So how much people did I call? 6. I'm looking at 2 more. Am I looking at Dina? Am I looking at? I don't think Kayla or TT look good. So I don't think they'll probably make it to the finals. Daryl, the issue when it comes to her championship performance is always going to be a cloud in my mind. She can prove me wrong, right? But I'm still going to be looking out for athletes like Dina, possibly as well. So 2 more spots are up for grabs for the most part, but I still don't have those 2 featuring. So whoever it is, I wish them all the best, but I don't potentially see them featuring. I think it comes down to Melissa, Julian, Tina, Sharika. It comes down to 4. Of course, 4 can't go into 3. You know what I mean? It's going to be an exciting finals, I think. I think lanes for the most part won't matter. But somebody said to me that, what if Shakiri ends up in lane 9 again? And I said, well, in my mind at least, um, this is in 2023, when one, people don't understand that they should be keeping their eye on the whole field, but 2, she's not in that shape. So even if she's in lane 9 and she can run, free of stress, I don't think it will be a factor on top 3. So it is what it is when it comes to that. Plus, when I looked at how nervous she was in the heat, like her hands were visibly shaking. I'm sure people remember me saying that. You know what I mean? So she's not at her best. I don't think she's gonna factor. So yeah, it comes down to those 4. And as I said, may the best woman win. So I don't see what's crazy about that. We're not supposed to hear the people telling her what to say. Children in the USA could see the trickery from a mile away. I don't like it. Huh? What happened? I'm confused. What is your opinion on the YouTuber Erin Brown? I have no opinion on him. Um, who was the Forms coach? Former, okay. Former coach. I'm actually not sure who was the former male coach. I'm not sure if Paul Francis was just the coach, the overall coach in general, but I'm not sure who was the former male coach. They tend to keep these things under wraps for the most part. So I'm not sure who was the former male coach. Um, so why are they watching if you're delusional? I'm good question. Good question. I think that some are still mad at Jacko and her camphor line to us last season, as it pertains to the injuries. And we thought that she was playing possum, but I'm not holding on to that. Guys, and as I said back then when it happened, I was disappointed as well, finding out that, she was injured and they made it seem as though she wasn't injured, especially hearing Steven saying she's great, she's good to go. And on the other hand, we're hearing, no, she's injured. We're like, what's going on? But outside of calling out, athletes when you think, they didn't approach things the right way. As I said, I don't hold things against athletes. At the end of the day, these are the people that we support and love, and I want to cheer for them wholeheartedly. When they compete, and I don't want them to think as well because I call them out in an instant, I hate them, because I see that narrative floating around. Oh, I don't like this athlete because I called you out. No, it's just like if a child at home does something wrong, you say, hey, that was wrong, don't do that again. But he hit the pitney, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing in this instance. So we can call them out, but I don't want us to be holding grudges against athletes. I don't like it. um Selena Baker, sorry. This girl don't know nothing. Why are you here, Selena? As a matter of fact, Selena, let me help you not hear this girl that does know nothing. Blocked. Um, you see, the thing about me, Chuck, is I've had a few people come into my chat say, your voice is so annoying. I can't stand listening to you. And I go, okay, let me help you never hear my voice again. Blocked. T, Shakiri was playing possum. You can't leave nothing for chance. Okay, not because I'm analyzing something means I'm underestimating anybody, and that's something that you guys misunderstand. I am not underestimating a soul. I'm looking at everybody and I'm taking everybody seriously, but I can still rate a field and say I think these athletes are better than the others. It doesn't mean that you should underestimate anybody, and it's the same thing with Oblique Seville earlier this morning. Looking at the field, he was probably thinking, okay, I can just walk out of the blocks and run however and win. But guess what? Two athletes sprung a surprise on him and ran 9.8. So I don't want us to underestimate anybody. I don't think you should underestimate anybody, but we can still rate a field. We just need to move on because they were hurting more than us. Yeah, and when you think about how Sharika Jackson also said that she was so distraught last year that she felt like quitting, and part of the reason why she felt like quitting was the backlash that she faced as well. That was part of it. So I don't think we need to be this hard on our athletes. Sometimes, as I said, you can express your disappointment, but don't make it a thing where you make people feel as though they want to quit. You know what I mean? Because even myself here in this space, sometimes I struggle. I may not say it to y'all, but sometimes I'm here and I feel like, am I supposed to be here? You know what I mean? Because sometimes things happen and it's like the backlash that I get, I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, just from a take, just from an opinion, is it that serious? You know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't think we need to be attacking our athletes. I don't think so. Shelly, Sharika, Tia, Tina, all look great. All to me, what? All look great to me. Can say I run, and no, what? I'm confused. All look great to me, and not get too friendly until the game finishes. Yeah, I believe in athletes being warriors. So if it means that you have to treat your club mates as the enemy, then by all means, go there and do what you need to do to make sure that you win. You know what I mean? I don't believe in the whole friendly, chummy thing. Me telling you that all the while. I don't believe everybody needs to be friends. I don't know why I want to feel like say everybody needs to be friends. You're not friends with everybody in life. So I don't know why you think that athletes need to be, friends with people. And it's so funny because I've actually been thinking about the whole Tina and Tia conversation, and I've come down to a thought process with it, and I said, you know what? The reason why Tia, I believe, struggles so much defeating Tina is because she can't treat Tina like any random, competitor. That's her sister. And to make things worse, that's her twin sister. So you're never gonna go into a race thinking that, oh, I want to destroy this person. You know what I mean? So it's probably one of the worst things to line up against your twin sister and knowing that you have to take them down. You know what I mean? I don't even want to imagine what they probably go through, mentally, just to ensure that they remain focused and try to win. I mean, I think Tina has been able to manage it much better. You know what I mean? But I definitely think it has affected Tia, for the most part. Yeah. Did Clunis qualify? No, she didn't. She didn't, unfortunately. She would have required a new personal best and a national record, guys. She tried. It wasn't enough. Shakiri looked really good compared to how she looked this year. I do think she looks better. I agree. Shakiri gave me 10-9, maybe 10-8 mid, but that's not likely to medal this year. She's giving me 10-8. I can give her a 10-8, but I don't think it's likely to medal. Um, It's just like when Serena had to play Venus, right? I agree. Yep, yep, yep. Would surprise, and you realize that one of them always back off. So, and I think the one that always backs off is Tia, and so it's one of those weird little things. And it's funny because I watched an interview earlier today with Tina, and she says that you know she doesn't want to say Tia talks too much, but Tia is always nagging her and saying, "Oh, Tina do this, Tina do that." So she seems to be the one that's like the big sister nagging type to say, oh, make sure this, make sure that, and whatever. So she's always concerned over, and I'm not saying that Tina isn't concerned over her, but it looks like she kind of takes that role more than Tina takes that role. So it's an interesting dynamic. And yes, so it's just one of those things. Trackies, overall, I just wish them both the best, really, because they're two of our best athletes coming up, and I really want them to get to a place where both of them can compete their hardest, and wherever the chips fall, they fall. I don't want to see races where one athlete looks as though they didn't compete their best because they're worried about the other sister. You know what I mean? And I do think I get that vibe sometimes. Would be surprised if Shakiri wins. Her muscle memory kicking in. Would or wouldn't be? I mean, I would be surprised if she wins. If an athlete that hasn't broke 11 seconds all season comes in and snuffs athletes that have run 10-6, I'd be looking over and saying, okay, what's happening here? Yeah. Yeah, trackies. You don't go from 11 seconds to 10-6, maybe 10-7 low. Let's say it doesn't go 10-6. It doesn't have to go 10-6. Remember, a win is a win at the end of the day, right? So let's say it goes 10-7. You're not gonna go from 11 seconds to 10-7 low just like that. There's always one that acts like the parent with twins, right? And it looks like it's Tia that acts like the parent. So mm, um I'm so sorry if I missed it, but what happened to Megan Tapper? So she picked up a hamstring injury. She was trying to resolve it to compete, but it got progressively worse and she had to withdraw. Unfortunately, though, Kerika is nowhere close to Japan. So even though we have an alternate, she will not be able to compete. All right, so we're getting closer to the women's 100-meter hurdles heat. Remember that begins at 9:05. They're showing the hammer throw qualification B, or B, the or pool B. Um, there's always one that, oh, I think I read that. If that happens, I would ask, did she eat oxtail? No, the Miss Mercy. But I asked the same thing. But I said, no, sir. It look like so you buy out every restaurant in the USA. Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. No. The voices in the background are idiotic. I never seen anything like this. The only part of this video that made sense was about the gene test. Usually her shows are much better than this. What voices in the background are idiotic? I'm confused. What voice is in the background? Maybe I know something have duppy around me. Why? To be honest, don't see Shakiri being on the podium. I don't see it either, but let's see. So they're still throwing the discus throw for the women pool B. Two athletes have automatically qualified so far. A week. The people them say the voices in the background are idiotic. Hmm. No, sir. All right, guys, please remember to hit the like. I see 260 likes. Please hit the like, guys. Hit the like. How can you have an alternate and the person isn't there? Shake my head. Okay, so there is no village provided or hotel, provided for the alternates, right? So it means that the J3s would have to house themselves, right? They'd have to pay for it. So it's a money thing, I suppose, and they're thinking that maybe the alternates will not be needed. Why bother carry them? You know what I mean? So they didn't bother to carry them. I personally don't believe that the J3 should be complaining about money because I think we have reached the stage in global representation, with Puma, that we should be able to negotiate a contract that benefits Team Jamaica, right? And what our specific requirements are. Every country is not the same, you know what I mean? Every country doesn't have a large delegation, but when you have a country that represents at this level, year in year out at championships, then yeah, I think that all our I's should be dotted and all our T's should be crossed. So when it comes to things like alternates, if it's a case where okay, that needs to be a part of the thought process, then that needs to be a thought of the part of the thought process. It shouldn't be a case where we have alternates, but they're left, in woy woy. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think the Chase is gonna have to look at that going forward and figure out how they're going to resolve it. And as I said, I don't think it should be a money thing because of that big Puma contract that they signed. Very true, T. Looks like competition getting all the way. Um, I'm confused a bit. Why watch T video if you don't like it? Sprint critic. But I don't even understand what Sprint Critic said in the first place. I'm trying to still understand the voices that are around me. I can, again adjust. As I said, I don't mind critique, guys. Um, Critique, it makes me improve. So I'm just trying to understand what the thought process is here, for real, real. What they say, Civil do bad start. I think it was more than just a bad start. Um, apparently Noel saw him panicking in the back. So I've I saw Bruce James, stake, and he said it's probably something similar to what happened at the national championships, where he probably felt a cramp and started to panic around at the back. But I'm like, oblique. This is the world championships. Nobody not gonna wait for you. You know what I mean? So we have to get that sorted out. Absolutely. Like from a mental perspective, it's not just physical. You know what I mean? And I don't care what y'all say because you've been saying this to me for years, that it's not physical, it's not mental, sorry, it's physical, but I believe it's, mental for sure. At least one part mental. Let's put it that way. Because I'm not saying that he's not affected physically as well, but I definitely believe it has caused some mental issues with him. And I'm not calling him a madman because I know you people love to think crazy things because from a Jamaican perspective. T, why you still not answering the question? Why have them down? I don't know because I thought alternates would be in close proximity of the actual, championships. I didn't know they actually left them in Woi Woi. You know what I mean? So I'm now finding out that they left them in Woi Woi. I guess because typically we don't use alternates because for the most part everybody takes their spot and everybody competes. The athletes that have earned the opportunity to compete. So I guess from that perspective, they were probably thinking, oh, we won't use them. I don't know why they take them down and don't use them. Yeah, they're gonna have to figure it out because they realize no, it's a problem. So before we never really use up the alternate them anyway. So they're probably like, okay, no need to waste no money and bring them. But now they realize that two instances came up where we didn't have alternates available. So they need to start figuring it out. Spring critic, what voice is in the background? Are you guys hearing this? Can you hear this? Is this what he's calling voices in the background? Is it this? Me no wanna call voices in the background. I'm gonna assume it's the feed that you're hearing. So let me move my headset. I don't know. Noah is trying to get into his head. It's fair game. If I was a competitor and I know your weakness, yeah, I'm probably gonna play to it too. You know what I mean? Anything I can do to get an edge on my competition, why not? You know what I mean? Um, you think when Usain Bolt was there dancing on the line and having fun, that wasn't his edge? Of course, that was his edge on the athletes. Everybody else there nervous like hell, and you just see one man salsa in a way, salsa. See you seeing both here. While you're a nervous wreck. See you seeing both here. Salsa. No, I'm weak. Yes, there are voices in the background. I'm thinking it's probably this. It's probably the feed. Guys, remember, I'm still trying to hear what's happening on the feed. So that's why I have it happening. So it shouldn't be that loud though. T, whenever I see your notifications, I run to see what's going on. I appreciate it. Thank you. Um, maybe they're behind on talking about when you had the computer mic on. Oh, okay. Well, I switched back to my main mic, so that there shouldn't be any problems with that going forward. Laz wins uncontested. USA on top says that. I wish you all the best. Oh my gosh, the women's 100-meter hurdles is pretty 20 minutes away pretty much. No, guys, I have the feed playing in the background. So I'm listening to what's actually happening on the feed. So maybe you're able to hear that come through from on the mic. If you're able to hear it, I apologize, but I can't turn it all the way down because I need to hear what's happening. Guys, y'all are not hitting the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Guys, hit the like button. Hit the like, guys. There's absolutely no voices in the background. It's not bothering us, and oxtails are too expensive. No. Can I tell you, the cost of living in Jamaica is ridiculous. It's really expensive for sure. You know, track is, I have a fun fact. I don't think, and I can't speak for when I was younger, and I'm assuming that this never happened as well. But I've actually never had oxtails, and I've never had it. And it's not oxtails, it's oxtail, right? I've never had oxtail ever. Strangely enough, I don't even know why. I've just never had it. I've always been like a chicken lover, and I can't see myself, eating anything outside of chicken. So I'm like chicken, 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 chicken. And I mean, chicken gets boring, sometimes. But yeah, I love chicken. But yeah, I've actually never had oxtails. And then I'm dating someone that doesn't eat, from a Seventh Day Adventist background, so they don't eat, beef and goat and all these extra stuff. So I'm not going to be cooking them either going forward, because what's the point? And I'm the type of person that eats anything that everybody else is eating. So if it's a case where somebody doesn't eat something, me just not gonna cook it. So I've just gotten to the point where, yeah, I'm probably never gonna have oxtails. Oxtail. No, I've had beef. I used to eat beef a lot when I was a little girl, growing up, because the beef was very cheap back in the day. I don't know if you remember when beef used to sell for like, it was cheaper than chicken. You could buy like 1 pound of beef for like $20 or something like that. You know what I mean? When I was very young, you could get that. So we used to eat beef a lot when I was younger, but I don't recall ever having oxtail. Yeah, I don't recall ever having oxtail. And as an adult, I've never cooked it. I've never gone someplace and bought it. It's weird. I don't know why I've never ever thought about buying it. Team man, you're Haitian, a Jamaican, that it's not that I don't eat it. I've never thought of eating it ever. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird when I think about that, the fact that I've never gone someplace and said, "Sell me. I'm buying a plate of oxtail something." I don't know why. In my whole adult life, I've never taken myself up and gone to a restaurant and said, "Sell me some oxtail." Try to do a reaction video. I know what beef tastes like, guys. I know what beef tastes like. So, I love beef, not beef patty. I love cheese patty, right? And y'all are gonna say, what's the difference? I think there's a big difference. Beef patty tastes nothing like cheese patty. Beef patty actually tastes like green arm. May I don't know if you don't know what I mean. Like, you have one green arm taste, but when it, for some strange reason, when the cheese is added to it, it tastes completely different, right? So I love cheese patty, and I eat that, consistently. But from a oxtail perspective, yeah. And as I said, when I was younger, I used to eat a lot of beef, right? But not the oxtail itself. I used to eat turkey neck a lot when I was younger as well. Those were things my mother used to prepare. Those were things that were affordable. So when you think about the affordable meats, beef was very affordable. Chicken neck was very affordable. Turkey neck was very affordable. I haven't eaten turkey neck since I'm an adult, though. I can't tell you the last time I've had it, but I used to eat it a lot when I was a little girl. Um, yeah, and I don't like eating fish stuff, and I mean, and by fish I mean like the cockroach fishes, right? I don't eat those things because they clean up the sea, so I don't eat them. But from a fish perspective, no. I mean, fish isn't bad, but fish is to me is light. Like when I eat fish, I'm still hungry. I'm like, who is buying this? Who is wasting their money on eating fish? Oh my gosh. I'd probably have it one day, but I don't know when. I don't know when I'll have the opportunity to eat it. I'll probably need to be around somebody that's like, let's have some oxtails, and then I'll be like, yay. I do hear the voices from your World Championship stream. Holding a phone and listening to you, I won't hear the voices, but I'm guessing if you have headphones, you will pick it up. Okay, so I'm sorry about that, guys, but as I said, I can't turn it down all the way, and it's actually in my headset. It's not even playing. It's playing from this, right? But I need to actually hear. If I put it on, it drowns out the sound, but because I don't have it on yet, when we get to the women's 100-meter hurdles, I'm going to put it on. So I'm just having it, out like this, so I can hear it. T, which fish you call cockroach fish? Like shrimp and all of those things. They're the same thing, right? They're called land. What's the word? Jesus, there's something. It's called something. Let me tell you exactly what it's called. I'm gonna tell you exactly what it's called. It's the same. They're the same thing like cockroaches. They're literally the same thing as cockroaches. They just have a sea version and a land version. So the cockroaches are the land version, and the shrimp and all those things are the sea version. Um, Let me see. Cockroach. What am I spelling? Cockroach and shrimp and shrimp come from the same family. Let's use that. So they are right. So what is it called? Where is it? Where is it? I can't find it, guys. So do you wait there? Child, I don't even know how I found it recently, but I found that and I haven't been able to unsee it. From I saw it, I haven't been able to unsee it. So okay, there's a technical word for it that I'm trying to find. I can't find the scientific word, but it's like one is the sea version and one is the land version. Okay, right. Arthropods or arthropoda, I saw your name. So one is like a sea version and one is a land version. So, based on whether or not you're in the water or on land, you look different, but they are the same thing. Yeah. So that's why I don't eat those things. I used to be Adventist back in the day. I'm not Adventist now, but I'm not against any. When it comes to Christianity, yeah, you're free to do what you want. Um, Yeah, there's scavengers, but there's a scientific term for it, but I couldn't find it. But yeah, so I don't eat those things. But from a fish perspective, I'll eat it, but I don't particularly like it because it feels like it always makes me hungry. No, shrimp and cockroaches are different. Yes, I'm not saying that they're the same thing. They're clearly not the same thing, but I'm saying that they come from the same kind of branch, when you're kind of breaking down insects into categories, yeah, they're from that kind of same branch family. Anyway, guys, we've been talking about cockroaches for too long. Let's get back to the track and field. So the women's 100-meter hurdles is right around the corner. It starts at 9:05. That's the final event on the track tonight, or this morning, because it's the morning session in Tokyo. Do, do you guys have any favorites in the women's 100-meter hurdles? Like, who do you think will be taking the medals? And I want to hear the reasons why. I don't want you to just tell me this person, this person, this person. I want you to tell me the why as well. T, on a serious note, do you think our athletes are knowledgeable about proper nutrition? This is something that my sister brought up a few years ago, I want to say, on the channel, or maybe last year. She was complaining that she believes that there's a theory why our Jamaican athletes always go to championships and get ill. So let's go to 2017. You remember when we went to London and a lot of the Jamaican athletes ended up sick? We went to, I believe, Budapest as well. A number of our athletes got sick. I believe also last year in France, a number of our athletes got sick. And I think she kind of got annoyed and she started to say, at the end of the day, it comes down to nutrition. And a lot of our Jamaican athletes don't, realize that they also have to invest in, proper nutrition as well. And she kind of, compared it to the American athletes that you see. And, she gave an example with Noah Lyles, and she was showing how Noah Lyles kind of has, his chef, and they work out his dietary plan and his meal plan, and this is what he eats for a day, and this is what this does, and blah, blah, blah. And the Jamaicans don't necessarily do that. Jamaicans just name anything. You know what I mean? And as such, you find that we go into these new places, right? And we pick up bugs because, from a nutritional perspective, we haven't, equipped ourselves as well there. So I do think that our Jamaican athletes need to start investing properly in that area, or we're always going to have them go to championships, and whenever not now a broke out, you realize that them always get sick. Yeah, I rarely hear the American athletes get sick. You know what I mean? And that's because these athletes pay attention to their nutrition. Every single thing that goes down to their in their body, they actually even wait. Like Jamaicans don't weigh nothing. That's the first thing. We don't weigh nothing. And let's say they are one store and you know, so you buy 2 pounds of this and 2 pounds of that, you're not weighing nothing. You're not literally putting some food on a scale and saying, okay, only this amount I'm supposed to have. We don't do these things, right? So I think we have to do that. And I don't think a lot of them realize that part of the problems that they're having is down to their nutrition. And I don't know if you ever realize, you hear athletes say sometimes, oh, they've started to make some changes. You know what I mean? They're starting to pay attention to the things that they eat. That's because most of the time they not pay attention to it. So for the most part, I don't think our athletes do. God bless the athletes that are in a program where maybe they are watched like a hawk, like, MVP, where, Stephen Francis put it on one scale probably every day and said, let me see how much you weigh. Stuff like that. But I think it's something that we really need to get into for sure. Nugent, if she has tunnel vision. Tunnel vision, what area you calling him? Um, T, they're not sleeping enough either, too. Too much partying. I agree as well. I definitely agree. Grace Stark from Detroit, 10 minutes away. Favorite early in the year. Hopefully she can regain that form. I think she's had enough time since we last saw her at our last Diamond League outing to potentially get back to that shape, which is why I was saying that I'm kind of waiting to see how she looks in the first round before I say, okay, maybe give her a medal or not. You know what I mean? But let's see. But if it was from early season, just going off that, I told y'all from early season that she even looked better than Masai Russell. You know, which is why she's actually ranked one in the world. You know what I mean? It's just a shame that she picked up that setback and at the worst time too. But I think she's had a few weeks and I think she should be able to get into it. I mean, if Masai was able to tweak her ankle and be, running in the middle of the pack and then turn up at the USA Championships and look the way she looked, I'm sure by now Grace Stark should be close to back to being better. You know what I mean? Grace usually sponsors our athletes for the Olympics. Hmm. We usually had a chef for the athletes. No, man, I'm not talking about when athletes are representing, You know what I mean? I'm talking about in their personal everyday life. Yeah. They need a nutritionist in their personal everyday life. Only intake this amount of food. Akira this year to prove herself, and I think she's in peak performance. I'm hoping Akira as well. Akira to get her redemption from Paris for Paris, Danielle because they always underestimate her. All things remaining equal, it's gonna be tough for Danielle. And I'm not the type of person that asks for other athletes to underperform so that our athletes can win. Potentially, um, athletes can underperform. You know what I mean? It's part of the sport. But I'm not going to go out there and saying I'm praying that this person doesn't run good. No, I'm not going to do that. So if I'm going off face value, it's going to be tough because there are a number of people out there that have looked better than her this season and have also shown consistency. So put them on a line. It's going to be hard. That's all I know. I really miss that Puerto Rican daughter in the 100-meter hurdles. Oh, I think she picked up an injury, so probably we'll see her coming for next year. And it goes back to the whole thing about the athletes, running year in year out. The bodies are starting to break down. She's coming from 2021, running back to back to back, right? So at some point, the body is going to be like, okay, I need a break. You know what I mean? And as we've seen it, in recent times for a number of high profile athletes. So yeah, they need to take that time, get healed, and come again. They can have their mother and a family member take care of nutrition by preparing proper meals. Yeah, but you still need a guide, right? So your mother doesn't go cook what she knows she normally cook. It doesn't mean it's good for an athlete. So they still need a guide. And let me tell you something, Jamaican athletes, every time we see them and them big food. Me never say one Jamaican I eat like like how athletes are supposed to eat. So I don't know. I don't know. All right, so we're getting closer, guys. We are getting closer. Is Brittany Anderson going to return to the sport? She said she will. Um, and I want her to, obviously, because she's one of my favorite athletes as well. Outside of her just being a, Jamaican and repping her, she's also one of my favorite athletes. But I also want us to keep in mind that every story doesn't end with a happy fairy tale ending where you can have it all. You can have the family and come back and get back to high level representation. Of course, that is what I want, but not many have been able to do it, right? So I don't want to believe that, not to say believe that it can't happen, but I don't want to be in a situation where I'm thinking that because Shelly did it, she'll be able to do it. You know what I mean? So for now, it's a wait and see. For now, it's a wait and see. I'm nervous as well for the 100-meter semis. I don't know anybody that wouldn't be nervous, supporting their team. You want the best for your athletes, so I'm 100% nervous, but we're gonna be here anyway, and we're gonna be repping hard for Team JA. And as I said, regardless of whichever country you support and you represent them hard as well in the chat. We go hard for our teams regardless. And may the best man win or best woman. That's just how I look at it at the end of the day. And we're coming to the women's 100-meter hurdles first heat finally. And I'm the type of girl that can concede a loss as well. So if we lose, then guess what? I take that L and I say, okay, next time. And you saw what happened in Paris. We lost the men's 100 meters, and I took that L. Just have to take the L. Like, it's part of sport. So back to Heat One. Let's tell you who is in Heat One. Denisha Cartwright from the Bahamas. We have Victoria Forrester from Vasquia. What I can't pronounce it properly, but yeah, Masai Russell from USA. Luka Kozak from Hungary. We have Sarah Lavin. No, I missed out Marie Fori. Marion Fori from South Africa. Sarah Lavin from Ireland. Yanni Wu from China. Of course, the Olympic champion is the heavy favorite here, expected to easily qualify. Like, when you look at the gap between her and the rest of the field, unless somebody has really rapidly improved, then yes, they're not going to be anywhere close. All right, so let's go. It's so that Jamaica doesn't have four people here, but we still have three, which is good. Is Masai bow-legged? I think I've always wanted to ask this. Is she bow-legged? I like people that have bow legs. My mother has bow legs. I think it's hot. And guess what? She didn't give it to me. Okay, I think they held them a little too long. The start was a little tentative, but now she has this um taking herself away from the field pretty easily. Yeah, no fuss. Just going over those hurdles. 12.5, no fuss. Yeah, pretty easy. I thought the start was a little tentative, and I thought that happened because they held them for too long. I don't want them to mess around with these starts. Now, I can, but when they start the wayward things, like if you have them on set, just say go. Sarah Lavin was second. Let me go to live. Sarah Lavin second. No, sorry. Marie Fori second, 12.86, and Sarah Lavin third, 12.94. I think I'm losing my voice actually. My voice feels weird. God have his mercy. Why does World Athletics make it so difficult to see results? She's a savior. Okay. Yeah, I think outside of Denisha Cartwright, I'm running 13.5. I didn't even get to see what happened with her in the race because this is um not true to form in the least. I think it pretty much went according to or true to form. Let's put it that way. Did y'all see what Team Nigeria gave the athletes to wear? Just two sets of uniforms? I forgot that's something I saw trending. Like, what's going on?
who posted a foul in her first attempt. Well, that's better already in the second. And where does that land? Well, just a little short of that backhand.
T, how much can a hurdler take off for run management before they throw off their timing? What do you mean take off for run management?
Already seen one of them, one of the big favourites, Brooke Anderson, exit earlier. 66.95 that has gone down as. I've got to say, Sally, you have the most amazing nails going on here.
You know what? When I turned
Tokyo theme.
yeah, it is. I've got like some sushi. My favorite sushi, which is salmon sushi. I've got a little
Not
Japanese
even close. It wasn't supposed to be close.
got all sorts of things happening on my
T
nails.
gets, I
Another
mean, I don't
encouraging
know where I'm
sign
going to
for
get that
Rachel
now.
to look at
Honestly.
those nails there, but they look long and they look well decorated. But this is about
Hey,
hammer
Dean, what's
time.
up?
What she got in that second attempt, and I can see
Yeah,
her
Nigeria
looking
athletics is a little,
away. Now that is better.
gotta be sad eyeing them for sure.
133. I think that might be just a slight improvement.
What do you mean when you say take? What you say? What can they take off? Remember, it's based on strides, so it's not like they are taking anything off. They still have to do the same amount of strides. So they can't throw off their race pattern. So at the same strides, they're just running slower.
Already automatically qualifying through that. Cameron Rogers, the Olympic champion, defending champion, and also England as well. Right, second heat to come in the women's 100
They were
meters.
wearing kits made by Actively
Well,
Black,
keep it going in this
a
race.
black-owned
Danielle Williams
company.
there in the gold,
Also, it's not a bad thing.
in lane 6. The world
Let me
champion
see Google.
2015.
They made it look like it was from a Sheen.
Quite some gap.
Yeah, she's certainly one that
Actively
I remember in 2015. It's either going to be
Black.
someone that we know or
Oh,
someone
it's
that we
actually in
don't
Google.
know
I don't know this brand.
or expect to win. And it's always this girl. She always just pulls it out. She knows how to pull
Actively
it
Black
together.
Premium.
She could be
Okay.
having a terrible season, and
Premium
regardless of
sportswear.
placing or any, or even not even
Okay.
making competitions, and then all of a
Let me
sudden
see
she'll
what
be
it looks
called
like.
into competition, and she can just pull it out. But this girl, Alicia Johnson, I mean, she is certainly a character, isn't
So
she?
I said ain't getting clothes in a Sheen bag and one piece of bugger.
Yeah,
People extra though.
Paris Fashion Week.
Tell me
All
more.
right, let's go
Well,
into
very
this
much so. I know her as actually doing
heat two
fantastic.
because we have the defending world champion coming up here. Of course, to challenge her, Alicia Johnson from the United States of America. So our very own Danielle Williams lines up here. I think Danielle wins, Alicia Johnson second. But based on how they've been running this season, honestly, it can go anyway.
Yeah, she's been working
And
hard
it also depends
as
on
well. So
what the thought process of the athlete is. Now, generally, I believe that Americans go into every race to win. You know what I mean? So even if they see somebody running 12:3, they'll try to run 12:3 too, not realizing that, hold up, I can actually save myself. You know what I mean? Save something for the next round. So I think that Daniel Williams will be going into this race thinking, I'm trying to conserve some energy. I don't necessarily think that's maybe what Alicia Johnson is going to be thinking. So on that hand, I may be thinking Alicia
That
takes the
is
win.
matched by this woman, the American Johnson, 7th in the final in Tokyo at the Olympic Games 4 years ago. Stramets of Austria in 8, a four-time national champion, and
But they said it was
Alicia
Sheen made it. Something think of Sheen.
is our athlete
I don't
closest
even know if it's a black owned company.
9. 2015 when she was crowned world champion for the first time. Horrible
Poor
name.
company get a bad reputation one go. My lord.
Don't worry,
All right, here we go. We're going on the line.
2017, shall we? Lovely.
I'm looking for execution more than anything else. This is the hurdles. That's going to be the difference between who wins and who doesn't win. Right? Execution. Who is clean? Who is the cleanest? So far, Masai looks clean. The only thing, as I said, she was a bit tentative, and I think that's because they kind of held the start a little bit too long, and I don't know why. Right? So, um, let's see. Set. All right, they're off. Daniel gets a good start.
Straight away, jumping
She's
the
moving
meter.
away from it.
That's what
Okay,
we
Alicia Johnson
like
isn't in
in
this.
the
All right.
movers. Well, look at this.
Sorry.
Danielle Williams dominant here. She's going to win this heat by some
He's
margin. Johnson trotting through for second. I think it might have been at the French hurdler.
well, I thought Danielle would be
She is
easy, and she
holding
was
the pole
easy.
spot ahead of
12
Shakiri
4
Richardson, who has a personal best of
0.
2 minutes 9 seconds.
But Alicia Johnson did run a bush. Okay, so what happened to her shape? Interesting. In third place was so Alicia Johnson placed second, 12.76. With Alexandrini from France, 12.99.
Look, you can say it. I will give you that.
That was impressive.
Johnson out of the water. I was expecting a little bit more from Johnson in that first one.
Don't get me wrong, guys, this is the heats and things can change, drastically. But I'm starting to have thoughts in my mind about probably getting us back on the medal twice, on the medal podium twice again. Y'all know I'm greedy. I just need a reason to put Jamaica on the podium twice. And I'm sold. Oh my gosh. All right, Danielle. Danielle is giving me really, really consistent hurdling, technically well, really good start. All right.
Rail leg through really, really quickly. Her arms are nice and tidy as well. Nice and really
Okay.
her body with
So this is what I'm gonna say about Danielle,
a lot of the
right? And
so
she runs a little bit different sometimes under pressure.
far ahead.
But
Set herself in a really
over the years, I think her shortcoming
hurdle.
has been her last 15, 10 meters, where she starts really good, but then you can see her visibly decelerate. Even when you go back to 2023 and you look at her, winning the women's 100-meter hurdles crown, you can see her visibly losing ground. You can see Kenny Harrison catching up. You can see, what's her name from Puerto Rico catching up as well. And they were pretty close to her at the end of the day. It was a tight race. But what I loved in this race was you didn't see none of that. We don't see no problems with the last 10 meters of the race. It looked absolutely impressive. And remember, she was actually shutting it down. So, hmm, Daniel has taken these last few months leading into the championships, because remember, she didn't have to peak, she didn't have to go to the national championship, sorry, so she was just able to really time her peak for the world championships. And I'm thinking about her last outing where she set the personal best in her personal best, 12.31 seconds, and how she's been shaping up for the season. She looks like she's in for another personal best. It's given below 12.3. And I personally believe if you can run below 12.3, you're in the runnings for a medal. On my own. On my own. On my own. On my own. Oh, no, sister, the last part I race, they fix. The last part I race fix. Me not see no problem in the last part of Daniel race. That has always been Daniel's issue. That last phase in a race. Me not see no problems. Look here. I told me that me account for Jamaica, yeah, man, and lucky. Anyway, because you what Grace Stark and Toby Amos are not gonna do. But look here, Alicia Johnson not even in the conversation. Who else was I looking at? I was looking at Masai, Akira, Toby, Grace. Were those the only four people we were looking at? No. Oh, the European chick. Looking at her too. We have to see she too. And we might have to look on Kambunji too. All right, I could look at it a bit more. But I still like what I saw from Daniel. It's given 2 medals, Team Jamaica. That looked really good. That looked really, really good. The issue is Masai, Grace, and Toby can run on the back end of races. And again, I pointed that out here that we're seeing where Daniel figured it out. So she won't be hunted down. I mean, again, when pressure hits, maybe things may be different, but how she looks in this first round, she has seemingly fixed that final phase of her race, which is good. And I just want to let you know that Akira can do the same thing when it comes to running down. Oh, a spider can run down people.
Oh, well, that's real disappointment. The Olympic bronze medalist here in Tokyo in 2021. So that
Then it looks dangerous. She looks good. Looks absolutely good.
fourth last year in Paris, fifth before
It looks good.
Tokyo.
As I said, me just need a reason to give Jamaica one medal. Oh, no, not have to ask me twice. All right, let's go into heat three. Who to look out for? Okay, so there's no Megan Tapper. Nadine Visser is the one to keep your eyes on here. So let's see how this race goes. She's one of those ones to keep your eyes on as well when it comes to potentially getting a medal. The only problem I would say I found with her is that she lacks consistency with multiple rounds based on what I've seen so far. So the one off racing looks good, but when it comes to back, it kind of gives not consistent. So let me see what she's gonna give at this championship. But she's always one that can, spoil.
966 for Mozambique goes here late night.
Anything less than 12.3 won't make the finals. Yeah, I think the women's 100 meter hurdle semifinals is going to be one of those events similar to the 400 meters that you get really fast times. You have to run really fast, sorry, to make it to the finals. I feel bad for Topper. Absolutely. Sad that she's not here. Masai, Visser, Amusang. Those are your picks. Yeah, you just want to kick out Jamaica. Anybody but Jamaica in a few mind. Don't count out Daniel. Absolutely not. All right, so let's see what um we get here from Visser. Okay, they're off.
Start there. Visser in the orange
Not
being
the
on the
strongest
bubble, starting
starts,
to move clear now from the
but
athletes
she's
around her. Carmassi is going well. Robles in that second and third position, but Visser will take this heat. 12.49. It's quick there from Visser. Massive time.
so Visa wins 12.49, separating herself from the field. So this is where track is. You start to know, try to separate the athletes in terms of what you've seen.
So the big Q going up 12.48
Her
now
start
for Visser.
doesn't look like it's on the level of Masai or Daniel, what I've seen so far at least. And even when she was accelerating away from the field, it didn't give me the same smoothness and crispness that I saw from Masai Russell and Daniel. So this is preliminary, early days yet, because we still have to get through the semis, still have to get to the finals before we can even talk about medals. But I'm actually gonna rank her behind Daniel. We're gonna see how the other people them go. So far, Masai, Daniel look good. Let's see. So those two for me are giving medal favorite. How many heats are we down? Two? Just two so far? Okay. Or is it three? No, three. We're down three, right? I'm gonna rank Nadine Visser slightly behind those two athletes. And I don't think that's an unfair judgment, given what I just watched.
At her head position there, which is a very good position there, then crossing the finish line well ahead of the others.
And then it also looks like she was trying. Let me see this front view. Why weren't they giving this front view for the 100 meters? I don't know. But anyway, let's go.
Once you've been able to put together the speed, the rhythm, the technique, then you're going to be unstoppable. It's, if you get into the 11.2s, 11.1s
I don't know. I think that
well in the hurdles, but
Masai and Daniel are gonna have to blunder to lose out to Visser.
running into those
Yeah, she definitely tried harder for sure. So she's ranked behind them. I'm not being unfair.
tailwind. And
I'm not just saying this because I want Jamaica to get a medal.
my goodness, I was terrified running into those hurdles because I didn't know how to control it at that pace. So she's been able to do that, and we're seeing those results of her now with that 12.28 earlier on in the year, and I think we're going to see.
See, them should put Garth Gale in Megan Lane for run.
Leading Visser. Safety through.
Lord of His mercy, you guys are a mess. No, sir. Oh my gosh, Daniel looked the smoothest. Yeah, no, Daniel for sure looked really, really smooth. Clearly, she ran faster as well. But I don't want to just go based on times. I saw where Masai looked a bit tentative at the start, but I don't put that on Masai's hurdling technique, but more so on how the race was called. You know what I mean? So if I'm supposed to rate them, I think both of them so far look really good. You know what I mean? Clearly, no two athletes have the same running style. So you look to see how really clean and crisp they are. Both of them look clean and crisp to me. So yeah, I'm still thinking that there's not much differentiate between Daniel and Masai that I've seen so far. I'm not gonna say Masai looked bad. Masai didn't look bad, and she didn't look worse than Daniel to me. The winner will be between Masai, Grace, Akira, Daniel, Toby. Yeah, I think so too. Oh, so that was actually five. I said four. Who did I miss out? Oh, was it Grace? I think I forgot Grace. So yeah, I think it's gonna be between those athletes. But I still want to see how each of them, because you don't know how people are gonna turn up and look. I mean, look at Alicia Johnson. Alicia Johnson looks a shadow of herself. She run 12.32 so far this season. So you would expect her to be someplace, challenging where Daniel is, and that wasn't the case. And don't get me wrong, this is just the first round, so maybe it was just an off race for her. So things can probably change in the semifinal. But based on how things look right now, it's not giving she's gonna factor. So let's see. Um, I'm surprised that Janelle did not continue with track, with access to all of that and what. Um, I get it from a female perspective. I get it. So. Daniel knows how to win championships. I think so. It's premature to make judgments prior to the semi. It is premature, which I did say. It's premature. Still early days ahead. Still so much can be tweaked and changed. A lot of athletes will go back and look at how they executed and fix a few things to come back to the semi. Right. But early days, I still think a few athletes have, shown that they look ready. In the past, they used to take the alternates. I want to make them stop. They've gotten cheap, I suppose. In the hurdles, I watch your hip rotation and how steady you are in your lane. And Daniel was the cleanest. I'm just going back through the race in my mind from Masai. I think it's just a different running style. I don't know. I think it's just a different running style. Honestly, because of how Daniel runs, Daniel looks more textbook. You know what I mean? I don't think Masai looked worse than Daniel. I don't know. See, what's your take on the conditions there in Tokyo? I mean, I hear it's a little bit hot. They were hoping that it would have cooled down this time of the year, but it hasn't as yet, which is why they're keeping some of the events a little bit earlier. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I don't have an issue with Tokyo. I think it's great. I don't like the stands. I think that's the only thing I don't like. The stands. The stands look like people are not in the stands, and I know people are in the stands, and it's because of how they've colored the chairs. Anyway, Akira comes up now. She's on in her blocks. She comes up against the likes of Ditaji Kambunji. Let's see how this goes. Come, Akira, show me clean, show me crisp. Okay, good start. Hmm. Track is, I think you have to be a different level of beast to walk out of those blocks
Isn't it fantastic to be watching female hurdling
and
because
jog
everyone is so consistent, everyone is being
and
so
still
consistent,
run
regardless of where they are in the
12.54.
start lists. Can win. It's a hard one to call. Early on called out Megan Tackle to be one of the two
Did y'all just
and
see what I
that
just
may
saw?
even win, but unfortunately she is out with a hamstring injury. But I mean Nugent, she is the Diamond League champion. She is out to
Like when an
to
athlete
face
came up
Shakiri
beside her because she
Richardson
was
as well.
literally just
She
jogging,
takes
she
time to recover.
slightly stepped on the accelerator a little bit, then came back off it. She was like, "Oh no, this is my race," but she just moseyed it along in the easiest way.
Australian play out
You
there.
know
She
what
kind of
track is?
featured the middle part of the
Those
field.
semis are going to be very
She's had
telling.
a lot of issues with her feet over the last few years as well, and
Good
unfortunately
start.
has
She
been
comes to the hurdle first, but she's not
in
trying to do too
kind of a,
much.
a
Steps on the
I think
accelerator
back
slightly
in 2022 when
just to move
she won the
away
world
from the
championship
challengers, and
on
that
her
was it.
foot, and now it's her other foot that's not playing the game. So, but yes, watching these other girls, look at this style coming into these hurdles. The drive into that is so strong. The technique over the last few years, I believe, everyone is tidying up. Everyone is finding their way with the speed and the rhythm that they need to be able to be strong into these hurdles.
Clean, very focused. That's what I've needed from Akira all season. I still think she's a little heavy. I think she needs to. I still think she needs to lose a little weight. Her bottom is too fat. She probably needs to give me a piece of that the body there. But outside of that, um, I think this is what I've been waiting on all season with Akira. Really good, really
Oh, I was going to
good,
say, no, I'm just kidding. No, for me,
really good.
I always like to race fast. It was 100 meters, so I was fit enough and I was fast enough to be able to get through the rounds at speed. But yes, it's hot out there. It is humid. These girls are
If
sweating.
Tapa was there, she would have dealt with the competition proper. I think so as well. I mean, I had her for a medal. Medal. I had her for bronze. That's how good I'm thinking she was running this season. But life happened, man. Oh no, guys, my camera died. My camera died, guys. My camera died. I hope you guys can still hear me. Let me switch a second. Let me switch a second. Why am I so dark? What's going on with the lights? Lights, camera, action. Okay, here we are. All right, once my camera comes back up, guys, I will switch back. I keep forgetting to plug it in, so it died. Um, I'm so annoyed about Megan. Yeah, me too. But life is just messed up sometimes, guys. Looks like me don't know what Akira just do, but boy, may I tell you, it looked really good. It looked really impressive. She not get up, she not come out of gear one. All no, all no. Akira not come out of gear one. No, sir. All no. Akira not come out of gear one. May I tell you, no, sir, the semi final is gonna be something else. Some else. She's pure muscle. Not it's not a fat ass. It's well if that's it's muscle, it's still fat. It's fat muscle. Ah boy, I'm weak. She looks trimmer, the butt won't leave. Possibly. No one showing up because there's barely any events in the morning session. It also looks damn humid. No, I'm not talking. No, people are actually in the stands. It's just that it doesn't look like people are in the stands because of how they color the seats. I'm not a fan of the coloring of the seats.
All right, job done. Let's go back to the track and talk about how to get ready for the final.
If Nugent only focuses on her race plan, she's winning. Is Russell running? Yes, Russell already ran and she won her heat. So far, the impressive athletes, Masai Russell, Danielle Williams, Akira Nugent. Those athletes, in my opinion, have set themselves apart from everything else that I've seen. So we have coming up now Amoy Brown, right? And she runs with Grace Stark. We're hoping to see her also navigate to the semifinal as well. Based on the times that are being run, for second place, yeah, then I think it's well within her capabilities to place behind a Grace Stark. So let's see. See how Bahamas have four people around. Bahamas doesn't have four people running. Which Bahamas just didn't say four people? I'm gonna go back to Heat one. One Bahamas there. No Bahamas there. No Bahamas there. No one Bahamas there. That's two. None there. Three here. No, that's three. That's three, guys. So we're looking out to see how Grace Stark looks. I'm interested in her final 20. So since she had that setback, you could see her visibly lose speed, right? And that's when she was going all out. So I'm not really sure how it's going to look when she's just running slow, but I'm still keeping my eyes on it nonetheless. Okay. All right. So Grace is doing pretty much what Akira is doing, but it's not giving me to say, oh no. It's all right. So Grace did the same thing Akira did, but it doesn't look as clean. It looks, I don't know how to explain it. All right, so Amoy Brown runs 1282 and places third. You see, because she has that other lead leg. Grace always looks weird when she's running with that with her lead leg. Her lead leg is the opposite of most of the other athletes, so it looks weird. She kind of has this weird looking skipping motion with how she hurdles. But outside of that, she doesn't. She's not giving me Grace early season. I'm the best Grace. So I'm still gonna have to slaughter her behind Masai, behind Daniel, behind Akira.
Really nice position. She had her head down for at least the first 3 or 4 strides. Then she eyeballed
And she looked kind of aggressive coming out of the blocks too. But let me see. Is that just probably her how she expresses herself? Maybe because you have some people that make up their face when they're running.
on her left there, how she rips that trail leg through super fast. Arms a little bit messy. I like to see them a little bit more tidier because that can get you into trouble if you're
Yeah, and she definitely looked messy. I agree with the commentator in that aspect. Her hands looked kind of all over the place. And if you know Grace, she's really compact and just skipping over, with her lead leg how it looks. I didn't even see Amoy, guys. I'm sorry. I didn't even look at Amoy. I was looking at Grace the whole time. Choppy. Yeah, it looks kind of choppy. It definitely looks kind of choppy. So I'm gonna say she's not back to her absolute best, which means that I don't have her challenging for the podium, which means that it's left down to Masai, Daniel, Akira, just based on what I'm seeing so far, guys, right? And I know it's early days yet, and I'm still waiting to see Toby. Yeah, she didn't look very smooth, and she typically looks smooth. So yeah, it's not giving again perfectly in shape Grace. Yeah, Amoya was third, guys. She was third, so she qualifies into the semifinal, which is what we wanted. She ran 12.87, I believe. Let me just reconfirm the time here. Um, so she ran 12.8. No, sorry, she ran 12.82. So winning Grace Stark 12.46. Second, Pierce Rajoska 12.51. And Amoy Brown third 12.82. So great navigation for Amoy Brown, but I need to look back at what she did because honestly, I didn't even look. Jamaica only had four hurdles because we have the defending champion. So, guys, you can only have four athletes if your country has the defending champion, like Jamaica did in this particular event, or if your country won the Diamond League finals and got the bye there. Bear in mind, if they say, for instance, Akira won, the Diamond League final for the women's 100-meter hurdles, it doesn't mean that Jamaica gets five. No, you can only have a maximum of four, and the World Championship bye takes precedence over anything else. So if your country won both byes, then yeah, you still only get one. You know what I mean? So you can only have four. You can't have more than four. And so Bahamas didn't do anything to get four, so they wouldn't have four. Where are you guys seeing this for? Am I not seeing this for?
Gold Coast in Australia at the time, and I could not believe my eyes when I saw that time. And then she backed it up in the final as well to be able to run that fast. And regardless of what's happened in the past, I mean, it's
Shakiri is back.
amazing, and I look forward to
I
seeing
mean,
her
if
again.
you think that's back to 10-6-5, but okay.
She's very much under pressure because this girl
Her
has
form
been
was all over the
running for years.
place.
She's been running for a while. She's a very
She clipped
consistent
the
runner
eighth
over the
hurdle.
years, and whatever shape she's in now, she's
I
phenomenal.
can crawl faster than that. Oh, good. Go.
To
Oh,
be able to beat the likes
prove
of
it. Prove
Sarah
it.
and Shakira
To me,
Richardson
Toby has the
and Amoy
smoothest
Brown.
technique out of the favorites. She just needs to get the start together.
Absolutely.
Again, we have to see the current shape that the athletes are in. So I want to see how she navigates her heat before passing any judgment to say who are the athletes that look like the
Possible
favorites.
that she can hold it for the second half of the race as well.
If the defending world champion is out for the successive season, does the country still get to send four athletes? What do you mean out for the successive season? Why would the world champion be out? Remember now, the buy only goes to the world champion. It doesn't go to the country. It goes to the world champion. So let's say for whatever reason the athlete is injured and they don't get to compete, then the country is not going to get four. That person just won't be able to run, but the country will still be able to send whatever three qualify from their trials. Or if you don't have a trials, then when you just send people, then yes, send whatever three. Um, I hope I'm understanding what you're asking. Okay, so we're seeing Toby Amosan get to her marks now. Let's see what this women's 100-meter hurdles is giving. Somehow, this season, I think we had the athletes look a bit better before they ended up at the championships. Now that I'm seeing them at their championships, not a lot of them are giving me as good as they looked. All right, Toby gets out really well. Charlton gets out before her. Charlton is still leading. Toby comes is coming on now. Okay, so Toby looks good. Toby looks easy. Toby runs 12:5. Okay, so Toby gets a favorite tag as well. I think she ran a little bit harder, but that's okay. I'm still putting her in for one of the medals, right? So I think it's between four people. I think it's between Masai, Daniel, Akira, and Toby. I think that's what the medals come down to.
Go, ladies. I'm ready for this. Such a beautiful hurdler as well. I've never really sat back and really analysed how she hurdles, but she's so beautiful. She's really nice and tight over the hurdle.
T, you heard why Glenn Mills is not
Incredibly around you. Once again,
worth his athletes
nice
in
and tight,
Tokyo?
and the lead leg nice and straight over the hurdle. And she
I
didn't
didn't
have
get a
as
why,
good a start as Charlton, obviously,
but
but
I
she
heard
did
he's
have a
there
very good start to
and
make that
he's
top
not there, I
of
mean.
the race.
So I don't know if it has anything to do with
First try.
probably the personal issues that Oblique Civil said he's facing because he said he's facing some personal issues. I did think about that as well. So, guys, life is such a thing where, people are human and things go wrong from time to time and we have to be considerate. And I don't want to pry too much into things, especially when people say it's, personal issues. I think athletes deserve a level of privacy as well. So I will talk about what goes on the track all day, every day, but I'm not particularly interested in the things that are off the track. You know what I mean? And if Glenn Mills isn't there in Tokyo, I'm thinking that there's a reason, and I think that's a reason that deserves us not trying to pry into it. Oh, I answered your question. Okay, that's good. Do you feel like ever since Camacho Queen won Tokyo, she has looked like she has lost some motivation?
Nation state these days, couldn't it?
I mean, guys, when you get to the top of the world, which I've never been at, so it must be hard to pick yourself up and try to get back there time and time again. The type of work, ethic that it takes to remain there, is ridiculous. You have to be part crazy. I think athletes are actually crazy, you know what I mean? And that's every athlete. To be able to put your body through the type of rigors that you put your body through, and then what's funny, Chuck, is this whole time I'm talking to my camera over there and I over here sound of it. It's just muff. Anyway, so whole time I'm talking to y'all over here and over here sound of it. So what was I saying? Right. I forgot what I was saying. I forgot my chain of thought. What was I saying? Do you feel come out your queen? Oh, yeah. So um sometimes some athletes are just able to do one and done. You know what I mean? Toby just has that buttery hurdling technique. Yeah, I like her. She snaps. I think I like her snap more than most of the other athletes out there. She does it really, really crisp and it doesn't look forced or like, it hurts or anything like that. It just goes down really, really smooth. So I like it. Um, Putting their body through work. Anybody know what time in the morning the session starts? It starts at 4:35. So the morning session begins at 4:35. Let me see. Let me go back to the timetable, guys. I'm trying to pull up the timetable to tell you all to double check the time, and I'm gonna be ending the stream as well because we've pretty much finished the hurdles. So yeah. So tomorrow morning, 4:35, men's 400-meter hurdles. I mean, sorry, men's 400 meters. What I suppose you guys want to know is the women's 100 meters. That comes up at 6:20. That's the semifinal. The men's semifinal comes up at 6:45. Right, and we have to go through the semifinal before we go through the final. So, and everything comes up tomorrow morning. And guess who is gonna be here? Me. So I hope to see you guys then. Absolutely. Me still a talk over this this whole time. I want to me man I over your sound there. Chop. Sure, man. The commentator said she has Danielle Williams to defend her title. She looks absolutely good. You know what I mean? I still have it down to four. I think the semi, and don't get me wrong, what happens in the semi doesn't have to be anything that happens in the finals because again it's the hurdles. But I think I want to see if there's any further separation in this in from the semi. Right. I think the semi, if I see any athlete show me that they're not slightly better than the others, then I may start swinging in another direction. But yeah, I think I would still want to see the semis to solidify my three. But as things stand right now, guess what? Jamaica can win two medals. Okay, no, Jamaica can win two medals. I'm not over there. I'm over here. Oh gosh. Yes, guys. I will see you in the morning. I can actually get some rest earlier today. Thank God. So, all right, that is it. We will catch you in the morning. If you guys don't have anything else to say, remember I'll be here at 4:30 or maybe 4:20. You'll see it on the stream what time I'll be here. But yeah, we go straight through for all the semis and the finals, and my flag will be here with me. My flag isn't beside me now, but it will be here ready to wave your flag. Wave your flag. Wave. I hope all I don't have enough flag. Listen, me not get no more pad cover. Me chop up the pad cover them last time. No more pad cover for no. And it's too early for your pad cover too. No more pad cover. When I have no more pad cover, cause you have practice for tomorrow when the 100-meter are run, so you don't mash up nothing. No, yeah, me have to, I had to move stuff over into one little section, and I'm hoping that I don't bounce it down same way. I swear. I really hoping that I don't bounce it down same way. I feel like me just gonna knock over everything, but I'm gonna try to keep my senses. Ah, all right, guys. That is it. The day done. See you in the morning. Bye. Oh, please remember to hit the like before you go. Okay, guys?
The world record holder, also through to yet another World Championship final. That's the sixth best throw.